215 will be disbursed for 2018.
Oo nga, pero yung 400 na natitira nyo, kasi hindi nyo nagastos ngayon lahat eh. Hindi nyo makakarry over yun.
Hindi na.
Okay, so
No
babalik
more.
yun.
Babalik sa internal.
Sa general fund.
Corporate funds.
Okay, alright. So corporate funds and all. Let me just clarify that, no? So that's why reduce nyo yung amount to 200 to 115.
Yes, sir.
Tama? Okay.
Did you ask na kung
Potential.
renewable energy project?
I did.
Wala kaya.
Actually, bago lang raw eh. Going back, no, ano po kaibahan nitong renewable energy projects na NEA and household electrification program in off-grid areas using renewable energy ng DOE, which is 272 million? What's the main difference, no? Parang the same project lang siya, eh, no? It's talking about renewable energy. So, what's the...
Meron kaming listahan ng ongoing upcoming renewable energy projects, Your Honor. Mostly rehab ng mga existing,
So, it's not
items.
necessarily sa household. No, kasi dito sa DOE's Household Electrification Program in off-grid areas using renewable. So, by its mere title, mukhang household lang siya.
Household lang talaga yan.
So, sa inyo is all types of renewable,
Ah.
including hydro, and these are embedded system, I would imagine.
Embedded, yeah.
Mga embedded system to. So, pang-repair to ng embedded system ng mga electric co-ops. Yep, Ma'am Sonia, pasabit nilang sa amin yung list, no,
Yes,
for
Your Honor.
2015 or 2018, kung ano yung mga
For
pending
the
list.
115 million.
Yes, saan gagamitin yung 115?
Yes, sir.
My next question, Ma'am Sonia, admin, itong 100 million under disaster response program, is this a loan or a grant?
Grant, Your Honor.
Grant na ito?
Grant. Actually, that will be taken from the NDRRMC fund.
Okay.
We did not include that actually in our request, but the DBM included that in their proposal to
Kukunin na lang to sa NDRMC.
Yes.
Pero
quick
meron,
response fund po.
pero may QRF tayong
Yung pa-
nailagay sa GAA. So tatanggalin na yon. Sa GAA merong QRF NEA. Diba? May QRF NEA yun eh.
Actually, yun na po yun.
So tatanggalin niya siya sa NDRMF. Ililipat na sa inyo.
Actually, the DBM and the Committee on Appropriations are discussing on how to treat that because what we requested is the 1.8 only for SEP, but the DBM included at 100 million in our JA allocation. I think that they will be somehow include that in the special provision for NEA.
As we speak kasi meron tayong NDREAM Fund, QRF, NEA. No? 100 million yun eh. Nagastos yun na nga yun this year. But mostly for conversion. 200 na nga nagastos, but mostly for conversion. So ang tanong ko, mariretain yan at mariretain ba ho nito? How do we now, because there are two funds, you're requesting your own disaster response program, and then meron kang QRF. Mariretain ba both? Yes, meron ho yan.
So according to DBM, that will be excluded in our JA allocation, but included in the NDRRMC.
RMC, andun na siya eh. Existing na ho yan eh. So, but under your request, you also added another 100 million for disaster response program. Andito po oh. Sa NEP.
Actually,
It was
Miss-
included in the presentation, sir.
actually yung request namin is 1.1 billion.
Right.
And I understand ito yung request na conversion sa mga existing na na-avail na ng mga electric co-ops. We wanted to expedite through DIGA. Kaya lang, hindi in-approve ng DBM, ipinalagay yung 100 million dito.
So, I just want to be clarified. Wala na yung sa QRF. Tatanggalin na yung sa QRF.
Sir, that will be retained.
That will be retained.
Opo.
Itong disaster response program
For
under your
NIA,
budget,
Yun po ang will exclude.
tatanggalin
Will
na
be
ito.
excluded according to DBM.
Okay.
For presentation purposes lang daw po.
Okay, so tatanggalin na itong ano. Admin, I'll just jump to another topic, no? Itong capacity building. Magkano po ang allocated natin for capacity building ng co-op? No? Do we have any allocation for that? Kasi meron kayong training 15 million but it's not clear no whether this is training ng NEA employees or training ng co-ops.
Actually, our training account po includes those for the NEA employees and the electric cooperatives as well po.
Itong 15 million.
Yes po.
And but how much is allocated for the co-ops in terms of
So
capacity
the bulk
building?
po niyan is will go to the electric cooperatives sa training po.
This is only 1 million a month. Is this enough for the co-ops? Kasya ba ito sa capacity building ng co-ops? Lumalabas parang 1 million a month lang ho to.
Yes, Your Honor.
But we have 120 plus co-ops.
We'll just submit po the list of trainings that would be funded by that amount po. If
But
you-
my question is this enough for the co-ops to build capacity? I'm sure hindi ho kasya ito.
And
No? Hindi kasya.
hindi po kasya, but that is the amount allocated for this year lang po.
But what is the amount? What is the desired amount to improve the capacity building of the co-ops? Meron kayong figure?
As of now po, wala.
Wala. Can you Ed, can you because that's also one avenue we can help the co-ops and we talked about this actually one time. I think we can already jumpstart some capacity building programs in 2018, no? And by allocating some funds for capacity building. No? But how much do we need? Yun ang tanong.
Actually, Your Honor, as far as capacity building program is concerned, while the NA is providing or facilitating the program to capacity the electric cooperatives, the electric cooperatives has its own funds to finance its own the cost for the training. Actually, so itong bulk, ang ISIS mismo, meron siyang pondo kasi kasama yan sa kanyang DSM. So kasama yan sa kanyang DSM. So as far as this is concerned, this is really intended for the NEA, including conduct of conferences, conventions being conducted by NEA all throughout the year.
You don't see a need to allocate some funds for the capacity buildings of co-ops to strengthen them, to make sure that they perform as mandated? Hindi na ba natin kailangan yan
As far as I'm concerned, understanding the finances of the electric cooperatives, they have their own fund.
They have their own funds.
So
And that's enough
it's-
already.
Yeah, it's for us to, it's for NIA to institutionalize, rationalize the training requirement or the capacity building program requirement of each and every electric cooperative. Merong ginagawa ang in-house na electric cooperative, they fund it. Merong kaming ginagawa sa NIA na ini-invite ng mga electric cooperative, they pay for the registration fee to cover the cost.
Pero yung pondo nila, enough na yan for them.
I believe so.
I believe it is enough already.
myself. But on the other hand, Mr. Chair, we are also in the process of institutionalizing the NIA EC Training Institute. No, we would like to coordinate, and we load the initiative of the Senate through your presentation that the EC. The EC Center for Excellence is being proposed in this Congress, Mr. Chair.
Well, if you have any summary or position paper in this training institute, please submit to us also, so
We'll do it.
we can support you in that. I think also that's one mechanism to improve the performance and further make the efficient cooperatives, no, up to standards, no. I really believe na marami namang cooperatives magaling, but we have to make sure that they maintain that way, no. But I really believe that we need to invest in capacity building also, no.
At this point in time, the NIA, in order to capacity the electric cooperatives, are in partnership with the academe. For example, the UP in EC, University of the Philippines National Engineering Center, as well as USTP in Mindanao, the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, and other academic institutions, as well as other agencies like the ERC, like the PEMC for their requirement. But really, kung merong initiative to put up a center for excellence for the electric cooperatives, that would be a welcome development. And if the co-op cannot afford yet towards that direction, Mr. Chair, then there is really that need for government to fund initially. But in the long run, that should be included in the DSM of the electric cooperatives, but because that can be included.
Thank you, Admin. And dito sa rural electrification loan, there's a 1.5 billion pesos under the rural electrification loan. Saan po ginagamit itong loan?
Yung isa po sa core service ng National Electrification Program is the finance, aside from institutional services, aside from technical, aside from legal. Now, the electric cooperatives requirements such as the CAPEX, no? Dito po kinukuha, kung may mga co-op kasi na they are not, they may be bankable, but the banks will only extend so much. So yung hindi na-extend ng mga bangko, dito po kinukuha. Ito po yun.
Itong loan, kumusta po yung performance ng loan? Meron bang past due? How is this performing, Ma'am Sonia? Is it all current? At magkano ni outstanding na pinahiram natin?
Yes po. Actually, our outstanding loan to electric cooperatives as of June 30 is 10.8 billion.
10.8 billion
And
outstanding.
Yes po. We have a collection efficiency of 100%. However, there are 10 electric cooperatives which are in arrears with us.
100% collection efficiency.
Yes po.
But you said may arrears, so how can that?
But there are cooperatives which accelerate payment.
Okay.
And the arrears of these cooperatives which are located mainly in the armed cooperatives na offset po nung accelerated advance payments ng other issues.
That's my next question. No? I think there's about, nakita ko yung statistics about 10% or 15 to 10% of electric co-ops that are negative operating margin. Anong ginagawa natin doon? Obviously, hindi sila yung mga negative operating margin. Do we extend loans for them to operate? Kagaya po yung mga nasa ARM, no? I'm sure isa yan sa mga problema natin. How do we now make sure that they continue operating but financially they're not viable? Anong ginagawa natin?
Originally, Your Honor, there were 11 electric cooperatives categorized as E-Link. But at this point in time, more or less, 8 na lang po yung talagang inaasikaso natin na makabangon. No? Of course, as far as these electric cooperatives are concerned, a total of arrears of 1.2 billion.
This 8?
The 8, the Siam, the 9, because we included Bineco with arrear of 113 million. Ito po yung concern ng Bineco dahil in 2006, they availed of a loan from NEA to fast-track the electrification in the Benguet area. So they were able to, NEA released in 2007, they implemented the electrification in 2008, which is ahead of the 2011 electrification program subsidized by government. So ngayon, dahil nung yung loan nila ay soft loan, 10 years? 15 years, nung nag-subsidize ng gobyerno sa electrification, sabi nila, bakit kami magbabayad? Baka pwedeng tulungan kami dito. Ito yung Bineco issue. So, that's about 113. So, i-minus mo yung 113 sa 1.2, 1 billion 271. Ito po yung total na arrears ng mga electric cooperative ng Busuanga, Albay, Pasoreco 3, Lico 5, Samelco, Daneco, Baselco, Lasoreco.
I just want to understand, no? So itong ailing, mas negative yung kanilang operating margin, no? So pag negative yung operating margin nila, di sila makakahabol, no? Next month or next year. So what do we do? Do we extend subsidies or loans to this, or sila na bahala? What is the process?
To answer the question, Your Honor, medyo mahirap talaga.
No, mahirap talaga. I know it's a very difficult situation, ano, but keeping the mandate of NEA, I'm sure you're doing something also, no,
Yeah.
for the people. But I just want to understand what is the process for those 8 to 9 or 10 ailing
Electric cooperatives.
electrical cooperatives.
We have a sector called Electric Co-op Management Services, where we either provide personnel to manage directly the electric cooperatives or to provide consultancy services. Ito yung ano.
But what if as admin yung financial they have financial problem, no? Meaning mas mataas yung expenses nila kaysa sa revenue. So deficit sila ng deficit every month or every year. How do you support them from collapsing?
Sa ngayon, hindi pa naman nagko-collapse.
So ano yun, wala kayong in-extend na loan to this 10 co-ops, ailing co-ops, 8, 9, 10 co-ops? Wala kayong in-extend na...
Ito yung sitwasyon, halimbawa, Lasoreco,
Lasoreco.
Yung utang nila na hindi nabayaran in the past, parang nakapark yan ngayon.
Yes.
Nakapark. Yung current nila, yan ang binabayaran.
Okay.
So nagagawan po ng paraan dahil gumaganda po ang collection efficiency ng
Okay.
mga cooperatives na ito.
So hindi sila negative margin?
Hindi sila negative margin.
Ailing lang sila dahil malaking utang.
Malaking utang. Yung system loss nila ngayon dahil inaasikaso natin, bumababa. Pag bumaba ang system loss, mataas ang collection efficiency, they are operating on a month-to-month basis on a positive. Kaya maganda yung ginagawa natin ngayon. Pero kung pag-usapan natin ng utang, problema yon. So ito yung ano.
So but itong going back to the 1.5 million, ito pinapautang natin to sa CAPEX.
Para sa working capital at saka yung ano to? Is it? System loss reduction.
So these are to improve the system also, but not to salvage.
Not to salvage but to improve the system. Ang mga beneficiaries po nito ay yung mga co-op na malalaki ang requirement sa kanyang CAPEX at hindi na kayang absorb ng mga bangko or hindi na para bang instead of raising equity, they instead avail loan through the National Electrification Administration.
And you're saying an outstanding ito 10 billion na over the past 10 billion na po outstanding. Ilan po dito, ma'am, ang current? Current meaning updated sila sa principal, updated sila sa interest.
There are 63 electric cooperatives current for a total of 6.9 billion.
6.9 billion ang current.
Tapos merong advanced na electric cooperatives na 29, a total of 2.6 billion
2.6 billion.
na advance sila.
So ang ano natin, yung delinquent, no, talagang hindi na gumagalaw ang principal is magkano yun?
Yan yung 1.2 kanina.
1.2 billion.
Ano? Plus. Ayan. Tanggalin yung biniko. Tanggalin yung abray ko ito. 1.3. Oo. Yung arrears,
outstanding
1.2 billion, 1 billion 271 million. That excludes Beneco.
No. Alright. Ma'am, can you submit to us also yung latest statement of account ng loans natin? No? Para makita lang namin kung sino-sino yon, ano yung account, ano yung outstanding. And I think
I can provide you this report.
pati po. And I know this is a very difficult question, Ed, no? But yung 1.2 billion na outstanding, I think we should have some form of strategy also here, no? Kasi pinautang to ng gobyerno, obviously hindi nababayaran. I know it's a very difficult question. I won't require immediate submission, but let's look into this, no? And see how we can address this outstanding balance to the government.
We'll do it, Your Honor.
Alright, I think, ma'am, I am complete with my questions. Yeah, with Nia. Thank you po.
Thank you, Senator Sherwin. We will therefore await by next week the submission of NEA for the policy to serve our people better so that underserved and unserved and unpowered, unelectrified areas, whether in far-flung areas or in the city presently being served by co-ops, ECs, can be waived depending on the policy that administrator and so that there can be better service for people. I leave it to you how to phrase it, but we would be happy to receive your draft policy by next week. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Anna? Okay. Tapos na po ang NEA. We will now proceed with NPC. I think you can go. If you like being beside Mr. Benavides, okay lang po. Kung gusto nyong kumain ng aming hindi masarap na tanghalian, okay rin po. But I know you've much work. So, Administrator, thank you very much.
Madam Chair,
In the
Your
NEA
Honor,
family.
we'd
Yes.
like to thank you for the opportunity presenting our budget for and on behalf of the NEA.
Wala, hindi pa pala tapos. May nakalimutan ako. Oo. Hindi, this is really to help. Yesterday, Senator Sherwin, I was hearing the budget of NHA. This you might fall off your seat in case you don't know, but I'm sure you know. I am so disappointed, to say the least, angered and distraught, because from 2011 to 2016, 53% of the NHA, what did I say, NFA, National Housing Authority, constructed houses are not occupied. Wow. So this is taxpayers' money being wasted, squandered, plundered, not stolen, but wasted because of the following reasons. And I'm not blaming whoever NHA is here, I'm just saying institutional. Imagine 2011 to 2016, shock to me. 53% of constructed houses remain unoccupied for AFP PNP, only 13% are occupied, and 87% nakatiwangwang. Sendong victims in Cagayan de Oro, I don't have the percentages still. Yolanda victims, hindi pa rin occupied. Pablo victims in Davao, hindi pa rin occupied. So, hindi pa ho nakakakilabot. If you were in my place, in Senator Sherwin's place, Senator Miggs, those who attended the hearing, what do you do with an agency that built homes and you see homeless people every day? And the reasons are there was no consultation with the beneficiaries. So why are you leading an agency, or why are we allocating and there's no consultation? Second, wala raw tubig. Was there no consultation with LUA or with the water district? And third, that's why they are here. Wala raw kuryente. So, mahal daw ang transmission distribution line. I said, come to the NEA. Saan po ang NHA dito po? Hindi ko po kayo pinagagalitan. Siguro kayo rin ay biktima ng anumang kababalaghan na nagaganap sa inyong institusyon, sa mga utos ng nakakataas sa inyo kung bakit po linulustay ninyo ang pera ng taong bayan. Kaya ang kadamay ay tumira na dun sa Bulacan dahil po sila ay mahihirap. At sa dami-dami ng mahirap nangangailangan ng bahay ay hindi pa po maukupa dahil po walang tubig, walang kuryente. Nasaan po ang NHA? Hindi ko po kayo pinagagalitan. I'm just like this because I feel frustrated. GM Escalada, bago ba ho kayo o career, sir?
I'm the newly appointed general
Nako,
manager. of
bago.
NHA.
Paano yan? Eh, kung kasalanan nung dati. We will not use the committee's time for the agencies, but please meet with them at the back so we're not too noisy. Here. Dito po. Oh, so we will serve you our saging na saba lunch, Administrator. Pwede po kayo mag-meeting doon. Administrator, kayo pong eksperto sa enerhiya, even when you're a congressman. My promise to NHA is, I will help solve their problems. We will pass, with Senator JV, Chairman of Housing, a resolution so that NHA will not get technical malversation, that you will allow it to be given to the poor who need homes and to Sendong Pablo Yolanda victims. Tama? Yun. So pag nabasa yung batas na yun, we'll support, hopefully, Senator Sherwin and all of us, problema, dalawa na lang. No? Tubig. Sagot na rin namin pag hearing ko sa DPWH sa Luwa kay former Kong Jessie, lilink ko rin kayo sa Kuwa, sa Luwa. So nandito rin kayo pagdating ng DPWH Luwa. Ngayon po kuryente. Paano ba yun? Yung ano bang solusyon? Co-op? Tignan po natin kung paano. Kung ang co-op at hindi sila sakop yung mga areas sa pinagtayuan ninyo. Bakit ganun?
Madam Chair, for information,
I'm sorry. You're supposed to submit to me, NHA, by today, all the areas where you built these communities and the year and the status, what province, what town. Do you have it, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
We already
pakinggan po.
submitted last night, Your Honor.
Last night?
Yes,
masipag.
Madam Chair.
Okay, sige. Nasa inyo. O sige, ibibigay mo sa office ko at may kopya kayo. At bigay si Senator JV. We will solve the problem for you. Hopefully. So, Administrator, paano pong solusyon natin mabigyan ng kuryente ang 53% ng mga NHA homes na tinayo mula sa budget nila ng 6 na taon na sinayang po ang pera ng taong bayan?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, for the information, out of total identified sites na 254 na nagkaroon, meron na pong naitayong ready na linya na total of 147.
O bakit dyan ang pwede mag-microgrid, no? Kasi
Tapos-
sabi ni Senator Cynthia, sobrang kalalayo, mura nga daw ang lupa. Anong sabi niya kahapon? 500 million pesos yung linya ng tubig. I mean, ganun daw ang mura nga ang lupa. Hindi nag-isip. Mura ang lupa, pero ang development cost sobrang mahal. Talagang hindi nag-isip.
Tapos, 26 na po na energized, yung 121 ready na po for tapping.
Ganito na po. May I request, Administrator, this is not part of your budget hearing, but we're trying to help. Because ayaw po natin masayang yung 6 na taong pondo, ilang bilyon piso po ang nasayang. So, we have the areas. Can you please help provide a solution? And NHA, nakapending po ang budget nyo based on your meeting with NEA. Now, you can stay at the back or another committee room. Give us a memo, a joint memo on the way forward solution before we pass your budget. We cannot pass your budget that it will be business as usual, that it will be incompetence as usual. We cannot pass the budget. I will not be able to defend it on the floor or Senator JV. 53% in 6 years is unused. Ano tayo naglolokohan? Tayo nagtatapon ng pera? Oo. Not allow that. So we have to find a solution. By passing the law, by MOA with LGUs, as long as they are Sendong Pablo Yolanda victims, and by LUWA helping you, and by NEA helping you, if possible. Or microgrid, kung merong maglalagay dun. Sige
It's
po.
noted, Madam
Just
Chair.
trying to help. Thank you.
Thank you,
Sige
Madam
po, you
Chair.
can stay there and have a little meeting there, just not too noisy, or another room, or in the lounge, sagot ko na po ang inyong tanghalian ng saging na saba.
Thank you,
Salamat
Madam
po.
Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Did you recognize all our panel today? Yes, including Admiral Lista and Mr. Benavides. Na-recognize yung mga bagong dating? Yes, okay. Sige.
Solvad naman to. Yeah, sure.
Pasin po nyo ako, walang bottled water, bawal po. Anti-environment. Kasi imagine, you have to drink 10 glasses a day. Kung 10 bottles a day, ang daming tao, saan mapupunta yan? So ako po, kanya-kanyang dala ng thermos. At may tubig po sa likod. Yun. So si Senator Sherwin po muna sa NAPOCOR.
Good morning, Mr. Benavides. Morning po. I think we can
Morning po.
proceed even without a chairman. We can proceed with your presentation po.
Presentation. First, we'll present our corporate trust and objectives, then our accomplishment for 2016 to 2017, then our targets for 2018, and our proposed corporate budget. Basically, these are our goals and objectives. Primarily is perform national electrification, currently benefiting almost 1 million households and 207 municipalities. This covered under Republic Act 9136 or repair alone. Then we continue to be responsible for the 12 dams, a large dam and 9 small dams. Then we operate and maintain the 7 undisposed hydroelectric plant of Agos in Pulangi, and contract management of 12 independent power producers, and undertake watershed management in these areas. The last two, the promotion of and utilization of indigenous and renewable energy resources, and the last one is to be caretaker of the Bataan nuclear power plant and the nuclear power village. As of December 2016, we are 300 plants in the entire Philippines with a rated capacity of 380, dependable of 301, and a peak load of 211 megawatts, Your Honor. Now, these are the accomplishments made by National Power. The capacity addition, we have added 13.66 megawatts out of for 2016. Then we have completed as of June 25.8 megawatts, 49 genset, and we are targeting 7.93 for completion this end of the year. For 2018, we are planning to install additional of 61.2 megawatts, equivalent to 260 generating units, Your Honor. As far as transmission lines are concerned, in 2016, we have completed 206 circuit kilometers of 69 kV transmission line in Catanduanes, Occidental Mindoro, Oriental Mindoro, and Masbate. Then in 2017, we have completed as of end of middle of this year, 48.32 circuit kilometers in two provinces. One is Oriental Mindoro, the other one is Masbate. And for 2018, we are targeting a 56.15 circuit kilometers in two provinces, Catanduanes and Oriental Mindoro, and a 280.7 circuit kilometers in four provinces, Oriental, Occidental Mindoro, Palawan, and Marinduque. For substation, Your Honor, we have completed 10 MBA in 2016, and we are doing a 669 kV power circuit breakers in Oriental Mindoro at the end of this semester, and additional 5 MBA load and substation in Catanduanes by 2018, and by 2018. For targets of 2018, we are adding 20 MBA in Marinduque in 2 sites, and 30 MBA in 3 sites, 2 in Palawan and 1 in Catanduanes. This last portion is to be completed by 2019. In terms of increasing our operating hours, in 2016, we have 7 areas operating on 24 hours, 14 areas on 16 hours, and 5 areas on 8 to 12 hours. In 2017, we have increased the 16 hours operation by additional of 4 areas, and 8 to 12 hours by additional of 13 areas. In 2018, we are targeting additional 4 areas for 20 hours operation and 3 areas for 16 hours operation. Honorable Senator, we have also started on new areas, Nargo and Masbate in 2016, that will be 8 hours a day and 123 households benefited. The Kamandag Island in Samar in 2016 also.
So
And-
Benavides,
Yeah.
before we continue, no, I just want to pursue this. You know for a fact that not all areas are operating 24, no?
Yes, Senator.
And what is the primary reason for that?
One, the load curve there is not a 24-hour curve. Normally, they use only power during the night. So basically, you have no load during the day. So the co-op and the LGU agreed to have it on a 6 to 8. Then as the commercial as the commerce grow up, then the demand on the daytime increases. So we increase from 8, we increase to 16.
So itong mga areas that you've mentioned, these are NPC generators, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
You own the generating
Yes, Your Honor.
sets there.
Yes, Your
And it's not because of technical difficulties. It's because of demand.
It's because of demand.
Okay.
Wala naman technical difficulty.
Meron pa bang areas na ayaw ng 24-hour na kuryente?
Meron
Kahit
kasi...
na mahirap sila, I'm sure may mga noontime show or morning shows or balita. Sabi nga ni Sen. Lauren, hindi siya kilala sa mga ibang areas, baka hindi sila nanonood ng Senate inquiry or Senate investigation kasi tanghali yun eh.
What we do is every year, we ask the co-ops and the LGU, do you want to increase
Sayang,
your,
wala na si admin Masongsong.
Hindi, alam naman ni na admin na
So we can have validated that.
Actually, example, Your Honor, sa Panglao, Bohol, initially ang operation nila is 8 hours, yung dalawang isla, Pamilakan saka
Yes.
Balikasag. Suddenly, nag-grow yung commerce doon. So last September 4, we ran it up to 24 hours operation na. So depende po doon sa demand ng mga LGU sa kanang co-op. Kung sakita nila, kailangan sila mag-16 o mag-24. Right now, happily to inform you na karamihan sa LGU ngayon, humihingi na ng 16 hours or 24 eh. So kami ngayon yung na-stress kung kaya namin i-cover yun kasi kailangan mo yung fuel tank na, kailangan mo na yung additional manpower. But we are able to cope with the situation right now.
But Mr. Benavides, di ba we're also suppressing demand if we don't operate 24 hours?
Depende po dun sa gusto ng co-op.
So it's really the co-op that dictates?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Can you provide us with the list of
Operation, yes.
areas wherein it was the co-op who requested to lower down the operating hours? And I would assume...
Hindi man nila-lower, Your Honor. Simula sila sa 6 to 8. Then goes up to 16, then to 18, then 24.
Right, itong 2018 targets, 3 areas dito, 16 hours.
Dagdag.
So, ibig sabihin tong 3 areas,
Dati mga 12 siguro yan.
but they requested na 16 muna tayo.
Yes. Kasi pagdating ng 12 ng gabi, tulog na yung mga tao. So, walang load.
Okay.
So, kung paandarin namin yung aming generator, because the load is low, yung fuel consumption is high.
Magastos.
Sisingilin namin sa kanila yun. So, ganun ang
So it's
basic
also
na-
economics.
Yes.
Can you submit to us so we can be enlightened with this? Yeah.
Can I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Then we go to the watershed management. It's basically, our target for 2018 is 955 hectares. Kasi ina-approvean pa ng ERC yung project mo bago ka mag-implement ng sa watershed. So, ang approval nila is 955 for 2018. We are now going to renewable energy because the cost of solar is a little bit low na ngayon. Actually, we allowed the local government of Lubang to go direct to a private developer to install solar power plant in Lubang. And once that becomes operational, we'll be pulling out of Lubang. Pupull out na kami pag mayroon ng bagong IPP doon na private sector. The other one is in Pinamalacan. Somebody installed a 40 kilowatt solar din. Ang ginawa namin hybrid. During the day, solar ang umaandar. During the night kami ang umaandar, kaming NPC. So we are looking at the experience kung may technical problem ba o systems, whatever. Experience din. But for your information, we have a running 100 kilowatt solar power plant in Minuyan, Bulacan. We are looking at the experience, experimenting anong variants, pag binago mo yung load, pag mahina yung araw, gano'n. And it's already 2 years na tinetesting namin. So we are implementing a solar hybrid, pinabibid namin yun, Paul Limasawa in Samar. And we are also assessing the wind resource in the island grids. Tinitingnan namin kung may pwedeng may wind farm o wind turbine na pwedeng ilagay sa isla. Now, Your Honor, we are going to the corporate operating budget ng NPC na. We have a total budget request for 24.605 billion. Ang pinakamalaking component nito yung MOEE, Maintenance and Other Operating Expense, na 64% of our budget. At out of this 64% budget, ang pinakamalaking component nun ay fuel, which is almost 6.7 billion. Yung capital outlay namin is 6.9. 4 billion ito kukunin sa internally cash generated. Yung almost 2.1 billion kukunin sa national government subsidy. But yung na-raise kaya ni Chairman Ligarda na mag-usap kami, sabi niya bakit maglalagay ang pera ng gobyerno sa capital addition, capacity addition, na 1.26 billion kung private sector man ay pwedeng sumali. Ang reason, Your Honor, is it's a 12.5 megawatt total output. But this would be in place of Basilan, in the islands of Sulu, in Tawi-Tawi, na mahirap kumuha ng magtatayo doon. Itong 1.2 na to, doon lang talaga sa area ng Basilan, Tawi-Tawi, Ulo. All the rest, we are not getting money from the national government on capacity addition. Of course, the transmission line is another issue kasi kailangan may linya ka talaga. So ito po yung proposal namin. And of course, we are operating the Agus Pulangi. And ang budget ng PISAM sa amin is 3.7 billion. Yun po ang presentation namin po. That ends our presentation, Your Honor.
Sir, since we ended with Agus Pulangi, I understand that the operator and the maintenance is being handled by NPC. In collection, hindi ho sa inyo pumapasok, ano? And I remember, ito medyo I'll dive into the operations, ano, dahil I went there courtesy of your staff to inspect the system. And naalala ko nung pumunta ako doon, yung efficiency, is being one of the biggest issues, Out of the 700 plus megawatts, I think it's only producing 400, if I'm not mistaken,
If the water is available, ang rated capacity namin is 930 megawatts.
930.
We are operating at dependable of 730.
Okay.
So may deficit doon sa rated of almost 200.
But yung actual yata is about
Actual,
400.
depende sa tubig, roughly mga 400 or 450.
Right, but they also told me that they need to spend X amount, no, to bring it to the at least dependable capacity of 700, no?
Your Honor, we presented to Secretary Dominguez our estimate for the...
Yes, how much is the estimate? You
The
know?
estimate, if we just increase the rated capacity, around 35 to 40 billion.
Ang kailangan.
But if we want to increase it by 10% over the rated capacity, we need 54 billion.
So itong 35 to 40 is to bring it up to dependable. To rated, which
From
is 900.
dependable to rated, 930.
Okay. And then yung kaninang i-mention 50...
54 if we want to raise the capacity of the units
Okay.
to additional 10%.
additional 10%.
Yeah.
So itong mga 1,000.
Yeah,
To-
1,100, 1,001, something like that. We have done that in Ambuklaw, Binga. Ang ibig sabihin, Your Honor, kaya natin increase yung capacity ng makina without building a new power plant, but changing the impeller of the water turbine.
Okay. Wala tayong kasama sa PISAM, ano? And do you have any information, because I've been requesting for this, but I don't know if you can answer it now, yung financial performance ng Agus Pulangi, you know?
We are getting, Agos Palangi, we're getting 9 billion, average 11, for the last 5 years, 11 billion sales. 11
So
billion
in 1
sales.
year is about 2 billion, more or less?
No, 11.
In
11
1
pa
year?
rin. 1 year, oh.
1 year, ang revenue for a year is about 11 billion.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Ilan doon ang nagbabayad? Kasi hindi lahat nagbabayad yan eh.
Umpisang Your
Yes,
Honor yung
so
ano.
that's why I was trying to, so hoping na mayroon tayong info, no, just to put everything together. No? Yeah, I'll get the information from them. But yung investment na kailangan natin, ulitin ko lang, is about 35 to 40 billion to bring it up to its rated capacity. And to expand to 1,000 megawatts, we need to spend about 54 billion.
We are now going to meet by next week the task force on the Agos Palangi Rehab in Mindanao.
I'll go to a parochial concern, Mr. Benavides, and I think you're privy to this, no? Yung problema sa Paleco, no? And
Sure, no.
there's a blame game happening there, no?
Yeah.
Sinisisi nila NPC sinisisi Paleco, and I think once and for all, no? I think the problem really stems from the fast pace of the
Development.
development and
Yeah.
demand, no?
Right, right.
I think it's one of the fastest in the country.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
We need to upgrade the backbone. The transmission
We
line.
have upgraded the backbone already.
Okay.
The basic, for information, we have no more power plant operating in the main Palawan Island. So
Wala na
the
pa,
power
no?
source, the capacity is purely private sector.
Okay, sa buong Palawan.
Yes, we
Except
only-
sa taas.
Sa mga
El
doon sa
Nido.
El Nido, Taytay, Rojas, San Vicente, which
When-
we are developing.
When can we connect all of those to the
We
backbone?
have finished, we are now bidding out the section by section of the transmission line,
Okay.
starting from El Nido going down.
Kailan ho mako-connect lahat siya to the main grid? Because that's also one of the...
I think in 4 years' time,
tagal pa, sir.
mahaba ho yung distansya nun.
Gano'ng haba yun?
73 kilometers yung isang section nun eh. And dadaan po, Your Honor, sa hindi siya magandang daan kasi karamihan nun, bundok ang dadaanan eh.
How much is the projected cost for that to connect? No? Because nakikita ko, yan ang isang paraan para magkaroon ng stability in the mainland Palawan.
Your Honor, kahit hindi nakakabit yun, stable ho ang...
Ngayon.
Ang dapat tanungin muna, tinatanungan namin, sino bang dapat mag-operate ng grid? Kami bang NPC o yung co-op? Kasi sa tingin namin, dapat NPC. Kasi wala kaming pwede paboran eh. Kasi wala kaming kontrata sa mga private sector na power generator.
Okay. Yang system operator doon ay Paleco, no?
Ang operator, may bilateral contract sila sa iba-iba doon. dapat sana yung merit order na kung sino ang pinakamurang magpresyo, yun ang unahin ng ating ilagay. Of course, yung mga renewable ay must run, di ba? Kasi kami nagtayo ng linya, pero wala naman kaming
Say doon sa
say
linya.
doon sa kung sinong kinakarga nila.
Okay, okay. And meron ba kayong, I mean, with that, is that a proposal that you are putting
Yes, Your
forward?
Honor.
And do you have any budgetary requirements?
Wala po, Your Honor.
You can just step in,
Yes.
okay, to operate the backbone.
Yeah, ang kailangan lang siguro namin yung mga line track na, pero which can be procured.
Sa ibang mga areas ba, meron bang areas na kayo ang system operator?
Yes, sa ibang areas.
Which islands?
Marinduque, we are operating.
Kayo ang system operator
Yeah.
doon?
Sa Catanduanes, very, alanganin. Kung minsan, pag may trouble kami, pag walang trouble sila. So, there should be a direct instruction talaga kung sino ang systems operator. Personally, I think, dapat kami. Wala kaming kasing, kontrata sa power supply.
And ilan po ang islands na tingin nyo dapat kayo ang system operator? Have you...
Yung mga major islands, dapat kami na. Pag wala na kaming power generation, dapat kami na mag-operate. Para neutral, wala kaming pwedeng kampihan.
Do you have meron na ho kayong research kung ilan islands ang dapat NPC maging system
At least,
operator?
8
8
islands, yes.
oo. Wala ako, open ako dyan dahil nga yung problema sa Palawan, no? And
Yeah.
I think we really have to go deeper into the problem.
That is another problem coming in sa Mindoro. Kasi pag nabuo na namin yung grid, yung Mindoro grid, sino magmamanage yun? Remember, politically, medyo ang Mindoro.
And you don't need additional funds to do it. All you need is a mandate.
Ang mandate saka yung line crew, yung mga tao lang. Pero yung additional capex wala.
So hindi na kailangan, ay baba, it will become a mandate next year.
Oh, sige.
You don't need to add money here.
Wala.
You can just take over
Yes.
the system operating. So going back to Paleco, no, how much do we need to connect pa, no, to the entire in remaining 3 towns sa taas?
We'll provide you these details, the 3.5 billion.
More or less lang, more or less.
3.5 billion.
3.5 billion?
Yeah, Ruas Taytay
Tatlong
is
towns
basically
yan.
1.8 billion and the other one is on the south side, Abu Quezon Rizal, kasi baka makalimutan din yun,
Yeah.
yung south side is 1.6 billion. So, to have the entire Palawan, under one backbone, we need at least 3 billion.
3 billion.
3.5. Then,
3.5.
yeah, siguro 3 years, kung talagang may pera, kaya kong tapusin yun. We can provide you, Your Honor, the copy of this one.
And you said in generator nyo, dinala na lang doon muna, no, sa El Nido. But actually, nag-text lang si Baha Mitra kahapon.
Oh.
They're still experiencing brownouts in El Nido.
Yeah, because supposed to be dapat yung co-op, may kakusap silang IPP. Apparently, hindi gumagana yung usapan nila. So, kami naman ang magdadala ngayon.
Yes,
Kami yung last resort palagi.
Yes.
So,
Ganun
kaya
yung
nga,
nangyayari.
ipit din kami kasi dadala ka ng crudo mo ron, ganyan, etc.
But yung generator nyo nandoon ngayon.
Nandun.
Hindi ginagamit.
Hindi, sa kabilang, may kabilang side yun na linipat lang namin. Dahil nag-request si Bah.
But bakit ho may brownout pa kung meron ng IPP, meron ng NPC?
Hindi pa po umaandar yung IPP.
Sa IPP.
No. Kasi
Sa inyo gumagana na.
sa IPP kasi, kailangan aproban ng ERC yung kanilang PSA bago sila.
But sa El Nido, I think it's lahat doon is NPC. If I'm not
Hindi,
mistaken.
merong kausap sila na IPP.
Meron ng kausap.
Kami po ang nagsusupply ng power.
Pero kulang.
Oo, kasi wala namang kontrata yung supposed to dapat Merong kontrata yung IPP, meron kami.
Can we still augment in the Palawan area? Kasi we can, hindi matapos tong problema
Yes, yes.
sa Benavides.
Sabihin lang ng co-op na kung ganong capacity na dapat dali namin doon, dadali
Can we,
namin.
meron ba tayong spare generators? Yung 3 taon, yung El Nido, Taytay, and
San Vicente.
San Vicente. Yan mga hindi nakakabit.
Kaya natin yan? No.
We have, ano, yeah.
Senator, kaya daw.
Oo. Yun ang, I'll
Committed, commitment namin.
sige po, I'll do the necessary paperwork.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Benavides, meron tayong 367 request allocation for watershed management. No? And iba pa ba ho to sa universal charge for environmental charge?
Pareho lang yan po. Ngayon, pa-approve mo po lahat ng projects mo sa ERC.
Okay.
Although meron ka ng allocation ng environmental charge, hindi pwedeng gamitin mo yun unless hindi approve ng ERC yung projects mo. So yan yung request namin.
Nagko-collecta tayo ng UCEC. Magkano ho every year ang UCEC?
Hiwalay po yun sa watershed, hiwalay.
Hiwalay na.
Hiwala po, hiwalay yun eh. Pati pa-approve nun, hiwalay din.
Okay. Pero yung pondo, kayo po ang gumagamit, NPC?
For watershed lang, hindi
For
mo
what?
pwede gamitin sa ibang
So, nangongolekta sila sa consumer, but you will request a portion for watershed management.
Yes, yes.
And we also took note that I think in 2016, ang utilization ng watershed is only 35%. No?
Right, Your Honor. Kasi yung approval, dumating siya late na para dun sa tamang pagtanim ng mga puno eh. Yung dumating siya tag-araw na hindi mo pwedeng itanim siya eh. Kasi matagal yung approval ng
Sa
sa
ERC.
ERC yung.
So 2017, ano po ang utilization? This is 2016 eh.
We'll provide you the percentage.
Did we utilize
Mostly. Kasi malaki yung na-cover namin na target, 1,000. We have 1,881 yung ano namin. So malaki yung nagawa nung 2017.
And ano po yung target natin? Do we have a target on how much
Yeah,
area we should cover?
We'll send Your Honor yung targets namin sa ano.
At magkano po yung kakailanganin to
Sige. Para ma-cover yun.
ma-cover po
Opo.
yung lahat? I think meron
Yes, Your
yata
Honor.
kayo na
Meron na kami napadala pero wala akong ano rito eh. Yung accomplishment lang po nakalagay dito eh.
Sa 2018, there's a 955 hectares target. Oo. Pero kung ano ba yung overall, is this a moving target or ano ba yung overall, how much area do we need to,
Yung areas na supposed to be ang 7,000 hectares yung open area for rehabilitation.
so ang target mo yung 7,000?
May target is 995 for this year, for 2018.
But the total
Area
target,
for rehab. The target is 85,000 hectares.
of total targets, 85,000.
Yun yung open area for denuded.
So 85,000 po ang total target in which I think approximately mga 900 hectares per year ang ginagawa natin. Medyo malayo pa ho tayo. Are we, Mr. Benavides, meron ba tayong some sort of a satellite or master plan? Maybe it's we have to see whether
With the final master plan.
Oo.
Kasi previously, puro ano lang eh. Yung satellite na, saka may binigay sa amin ng ADB na parang ipupus mo lang, pag may nakita kang variant dun sa lugar, ipupus mo lang, re-reflect na dun sa opisina namin. Kung,
Kasi hindi natin alam kung are we moving or we're not achieving anything. No, and of course, yung amount kasi kinakaltas to sa build natin eh.
yeah.
No, using the UCEC.
Pero kung ano lang inaprubahan ng ERC, yun ang pwede yung kaltasin. Hindi,
Yes. But ang ibig ko sabihin, nanggagaling rin to sa
Oo,
electric
sa
bill
electric bill.
na ginagamit natin for watershed management.
Yes, Your
But we
Honor.
have to know whether the watershed management
Yeah,
is
We'll submit
successful
you the
or-
comprehensive plan for watershed.
maybe on a later date we'll get some briefing whether
yes.
it's successful or not.
We'll arrange a briefing for the
Because
watershed.
we're scrutinizing closely the universal charges. Medyo that's another way of bringing down the price. No?
You mentioned about watershed management.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
367 million.
Yes, ma'am.
That's from your operating funds, your corporate budget, or is it net?
That's
request.
from the approved ERC. That's collected from the customers, yung environmental
The
fund.
UC.
UC.
Yeah, that's under EPIRA. You're entitled to 1/4, is it, of 1 centavo per kilowatt hour, which forms part of the UC, and this environmental fund is solely for watershed rehabilitation. Does the NAPOCOR do it themselves, or do you do it with DNR, or do
We
you
do it
with
with
forest?
NGOs, with DNR, with the students. There's so many civic organizations na
And so the UC from the consumers is collected, that percentage goes directly to NAPOCOR, and NAPOCOR earmarks that to watershed management in selected watersheds.
yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I join Senator Sherwin in kindly giving us a broad report from the time that EPIRA started and earmarking was given to you on how much has been given to NAPOCOR, how much is remaining, and the annual expenditure insofar as watershed management, and which watersheds have actually been managed, planted, etc. And this afternoon, I'm actually going to hear, you can join me, the National Greening Program at 2 o'clock. Anyway, masarap naman po ang tanghalian natin. Maganda nandyan kayo, or kung sino pong in charge sa inyong watershed management, para titignan ko kung sino mas magaling sa watershed management, kung si NGP ng DNR, na wala pa kami nakikitang bundok na natatamnan, o yung NPCing watershed management na galing po sa UC. If you can leave your person in charge of
Yeah.
watershed management here.
Yes, Your Honor. We'll have him stay.
Pero po, sorry, you were asking a question. I just wanted this watershed. Yung COA report po ng 2016 noted that various operational and technical issues, delays in the budget preparation, procurement, low utilization of the UCEC funds. And of the total, is it correct, 1.49 billion, only 533 was utilized, or 35% by NAPOCOR. Is it accurate? Tama po
That's
yun?
accurate po. When
Ibig sabihin yung pondo, nandyan pa.
Yeah, when I rejoined NAPOCOR last April, the first thing they asked, why do we have my money deposited in the bank na dapat ginagamit natin sa watershed? And the reason is, nahirapan daw na implement yung watershed. So, I told them, okay, this year, we utilize as maximum as possible yung perang yan para mahabol natin yung targets natin. Admittedly po, talagang malaking pondo na hindi nagamit.
So yung hinihingi po namin ay kung pwede po
Yes.
i-itemize nyo yung watershed by specific activity costings, tree planting, protection of plantations, the reduction of sedimentation, soil erosion inside reforested areas. Do you actually
reforest in secondary forest, anong
Yes.
watershed po sa Luzon, Visayas o Mindanao, ganun po.
Yeah, we will have a separate presentation of our watershed program.
And if biodiversity has actually improved, kasi iba yung tree planting, iba yung tumubo.
Yes, yes.
Baka po tayo bili ng seedling, ano po yung survival rate,
Right.
ano po. Very basic question. I asked you this when we were in the office. Why does NPC need to spend billions of pesos, a large part of its budget,
Yeah,
for ito, for
1 point-
transmission? For transmission. Just like in NEA, the similar question that Senator Gatchalian asked, when distributed generation would really allow such places like Palawan, Mindoro, all these areas to be electrified faster, perhaps lower cost. But why would we spend so much on transmission out of the
2.1 billion,
0.81 billion national government subsidy,
988 million.
818,420 million will be used for the construction of transmission lines and substation.
Yeah,
Yung binanggit ko kanina, no? Palawan, Taytay, Mansalay, etc., Marinduque.
Your Honor, pag ang demand po is more than 5 megawatts at ang systems loss ng co-op is more than 13, you need to have a transmission line na connecting the big islands. Kasi pag hindi po sila nakakonect at ang systems loss is more than 13, malaki na ang lugi ng co-op. At the same time, yung tripping nila, yung tripping ng linya, continuous yun kasi kung iba-ibang power generator nagsusupply. The use of the 16 kV transmission line is so that if you have a load end, one power plant can connect to this area, the other one can connect to this area without tripping this power plant if there are troubles in the secondary line or the distribution line.
My question, sir, is why does NPC not reevaluate its fund allocation or necessity for transmission in areas where there's limited power density as compared to using the same towards distributed generation? That's more reliable or more resilient to calamities? Just the same question in NEA.
Madam Chair, kasi if you look at the projects, there are only 3 projects dedicated sa major islands yan. Pero nung sa maliit na isla, hindi kami naglalagay ng transmission line. Talagang lang. Kasi
Even in these areas, why spend on transmission when there could be distributed generation?
Pag distributed po, wala silang extra N-1. Kung magkaroon ng trouble doon sa area doon, at may available na generator dito, pero wala kang transmission line na kukonect sa kanila, hindi mo masusupply yung kabila.
Ibig ko po sabihin, ba't hindi natin paggugulan ng pansin ang pagtatagpo ng embedded or distributed generators or generation?
Yeah. Kung ang demand
Para
po,
po hindi na kailangan ng pondo sa transmission at generation.
kung ang demand po is lower than 5 megawatts at ang system loss is lower than 13, tama po yun. We don't have to install a transmission line. But beyond 5 megawatts and a 13% system loss, kailangan na po na maglagay ka ng linya 1 to attain your N-1. Ibig sabihin, kung mayroong power plant sa dulo, pwede niyang ibato yung sobrang niyang power pag may trouble dito and vice versa. Unlike kung isolated siya, pag nag-trip yung planta niya, wala siyang total power supply. Yun lang po ang purpose nun.
Hindi ba ho, pag embedded, pag yung microgrid ay nandun sa komunidad, hindi na kailangan ng transmission line?
Hindi po. Tama yun. Pero wala siyang N-1. Ibig sabihin, wala siyang backup in case magkaroon trouble yung plantang yun, wala siyang power totally. Unlike kung may transmission line ka 16 kV, you can supply the power from this area to that area, or from this area to this area.
So what you're saying, sir, is kung meron generator na source na existing, we should just build the transmission line even if there is a microgrid
No,
and distributed generation as a backup
No,
to the microgrid?
Different po yun. Pag yung microgrid, ang demand, ang supply nun, less than siguro 1 megawatt lang or 5 megawatts. Kaya
A
nga may-
microgrid can be bigger than that.
Oo, pero kasi pag po, sa amin, pag microgrid, 5 megawatts is a microgrid. Beyond that, kaya nga sabi ko, beyond the 5 megawatts in a 13% system loss, naglalagay kami ng linya. But that's limited to the main islands. Small islands, wala ho kaming lalagay ng linya. Like Lubang, we don't place there. Corcuera or the islands around Marinduque, wala kaming lalagay na linya yan.
So yung linya po na inyong dapat pondohan ay pag ang need, ang requirement po ay higit sa
5
5
megawatts.
megawatts
At ang
at ang
systems
systems loss ay,
More than 13.
I don't understand the system loss of 13.
Hindi.
How do you measure that?
Yung system loss po, yung nawawalang...
I know what systems loss means, pero yung 13, paano po nyo sinusukat yon?
Kasi yun ang cap sa NEA na beyond ay 12% babayaran nila. They cannot have the consumers pay for anything beyond the 12%. Sisingin nila sa co-op yun. Because yun ang cap ng lahat ng cap ng ERC sa lahat ng co-op is 12%. Beyond that, you cannot collect that from the consumers.
I still, maybe because I am not an expert like Senator Sergio Smenya in the energy sector, I just want to understand. The management and operation of the nationwide transmission is NGCP.
Yes.
Di ba po?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ayon sa EPIRA. Transco retains ownership. No?
Yeah.
Is not the rehabilitation of the, anong dinigay di?
Repetition of Buwak to Reyes.
Yeah, 69 kV transmission line project, 305.57 million, part of the responsibility of NGCP?
Hindi po. Sa missionary areas kami po ang in charge doon. Yung main grid lang po sila. Opo.
Sino po ang magiging responsible for the O&M ng mga bago pong tinatatag nyo na transmission line? Kayo rin po. So, ibig sabihin, taon-taon,
Yeah, that's why sabi nga namin, we do the O&M of the lines, but the operation of the line is being handled by the co-op. That's why you asked the senator kung pwedeng isettle na kami na lang mag-operate and maintain as well as manage the transmission line.
it will be a recurring budget sa O&M of this new transmission lines that you will be, itong capex nyong hiningi for transmission line, and then yung O&M every year will be from your operating budget, internal budget po.
Yes, yes. That's why sabi nga, tinanungan niyo ako previously, yung NG budget namin for the CAPEX or the capacity addition is dedicated only to the islands of Basilan, Tawi-Tawi, and Sulu. Kasi walang ano doon. That's 12 megawatts lang, 2.1 million. Aside from that, hindi kami naglagay na ng CAPEX galing sa gobyerno sa ibang isla.
Ano ho nyo na-determine, Sir, yung, I'm just curious, no? Itong 12 megawatts na ito are, will be located in areas wherein walang gustong pumasok na
Yes, Your Honor.
NPP.
Basilan,
Ano yun, upon request ng
ng
co-op doon?
LGU.
Ng LGU.
At saka ng co-op, Sibuto, Sitangkay, Manok Mangkaw, West Simunul, Cagayan de Tawi-Tawi, Tandubanak, Basilan.
So these are considered but high-risk
Yes, Your Honor.
high-risk areas.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, just to go back to your question earlier, no, it's actually policy question yan, connected to NEA. To be honest about it, ho, yung microgrid can go as high as more than 5 megawatts talaga. You know,
Huwag natin lagyan ng cap. Oo.
I mean, I've seen some systems na mga 10 megawatts, kaya nila ng microgrid talaga. 20 megawatts, kaya nila yan. Although in their case, especially po sa Palawan, present na ho sila, ma'am eh. So I think the strategy there really is to upgrade the lines, no, and expand the lines, no, because present siya. But there's no limitation to microgrid, especially now. The capacities are getting bigger and bigger. But they have to work hand in hand with NEA because NEA will ultimately say na, ito, wag niyo nang pasukan to dahil kaya na namin may microgrid. Sa kanila, habang hindi pa naman wala pang policy, they have to keep on connecting and connecting. Ganun po yung, sayang nga na, paalis natin si Ed, no? But it's really a policy question of...
Should have stayed pala kasi.
Oo nga eh, yeah. Yes, yes.
Sabihin nila na alis na kayo, alis na kami. Pero pag sinabi nilang wala pang magsusupply doon, kayo muna, kami muna.
Dapat talaga, sa EPIRA, privatization talaga. So, hindi dapat kayo mag-embark on new technologies, on new investments because dapat nga nagre-recede, nawawala.
Right. Kasi actually yung policy namin, phase in, phase out. Pag may private sector na sa isang isla, pull out na kami. Ang problema kasi, yung kakontrata niya, ayaw pang pumasok pag hindi pa approve ng ERC yung BSA. So kami, na-stack up kami sa ganong arrangement na hindi ka makaalis kasi walang kuryente pag umalis kayo. Pero yung budget mo, hanggang doon lang supposed to be pagpasok ng IPP na yun. But yung IPP naman, hindi pumapasok kasi wala pang approval yung ERC.
You have a budget of 15 billion a year on subsidies for diesel? 15 billion ba ho?
The diesel is basically 6.7 billion, yung
What,
fuel.
is there a 15 billion a year on diesel? It says here.
No, that's... yung diesel fuel po niyan is 6.7 billion. Yung iba po dyan is NPP na binibigay, input tax, income tax, dividend.
Paano po ito? Sino po ang nagko-contract sa mga diesel generators, NPC?
Kami po ang nagbibid ng mga generators.
Why do we have to spend for diesel gensets? Mga magkano po per kilowatt hour ang cost pag diesel gen?
Bali,
What's an estimate, sir?
I think 6 pesos per...
If there is competitive price of non-diesel, non-fossil fuel,
Then we give it to them. Like in Lubang, the mayor asked me if he can contract out with a solar power company. Sabi ko, if it's lower the all diesel price, then...
so in all Napocor areas, you would, unlike the co-ops, you would not, you're willing to give it away.
Yes.
Because that's the essence of
ang mandate-
EPIRA.
yeah,
That's your mandate.
namin dapat umalis
Yes,
kami.
EPIRA's mandate is privatization.
Yes, yes.
Your EPIRA's, I mean, if you're to follow EPIRA, na
Yes.
2001 pa yun.
Yes, yun yung mandate
Privatization.
namin. Dapat, wala kami
So,
dapat...
imbis na nag-i-increase ang inyong budget to support diesel, bunker, ang hirap itawid sa mga isla, nag-excise tax sa diesel, tataas, mamahal ang kuryente, hindi dapat ho, di ba? So, dapat nag-face down na kayo, receding na ang budget
Right.
dito.
My understanding is by 2019, wala na kaming NG subsidy.
Don't have NG subsidy, even your internally generated funds should not be doing PSAs with diesel companies or gensets or bunker, hindi na.
Meron kaming mga rentals kasi ito yung mga areas na yung mga IPP nga, hindi pa pumapasok. Dapat sila pumasok na. Like Mindoro, may pinirman silang IPP doon, pero hindi pa nga approve yung PSA nila ng ERC, hindi siya pumapasok. So kami muna yung umaandar doon. But once pumasok na sila, kasi 10 megawatts na lang kami sa Mindoro. After that, out na kami sa Mindoro.
Occidental, Oriental po.
Dental Mindoro. We are out already Masbate. Wala na kami Masbate, wala na kami sa Tablas. Basically, talagang umaalis na kami. In Palawan, we are not anywhere in the main islands. Wala na kami doon, wala kami pa-regionalize doon. Sa mga maliit na isla talaga, yan talagang isla maliliit na, like in Bohol, they're asking us to place units in 15 islands by 2018.
So you're in this small unserved areas. Kayo po ang
Kami muna.
kasing gobyerno.
Oo.
Bakit po puro diesel?
Hindi.
Kung meron naman pong renewable energy na competitive ang cost,
Hindi.
bakit po nyo sinasubcontract? What do you call it? Subcontract? Is sini-CSP ba ho nyo or
No.
negotiated contract?
No, actually, ngayon may solar na kami, saka hybrid. The purpose lang kasi na doon previously, yung presyo ng solar mataas pa eh. Pero ngayon bumaba na at 299. Di pwede naming ano ba, kung sino gustong pumasok na almost yeah, you can give it to them.
Mr. Benavides, pasok yan dito sa NPP, no?
Yes.
What NPP are the generators na linilis nyo?
Yung new power provider.
Yung power provider
Oo.
ho to.
Mm.
And how do you, itong 2.4 billion, how do you, anong arrangement po with the NPP? New power provider po.
Hindi. Bali, yung, di ba, sa isla kasi, yung specially, socially affordable rate, SAGR.
SAGR, yes.
Oo.
Sagar.
So,
Sagar.
yung difference between the SAGR saka yung pinarmandiang Trocos generation, yun ang subsidy.
Yan yung subsidy na pumupunta sa
Doon sa
inyo.
NPP. Ang
Sa
binabayad
NPP.
na, sa NPP.
Kayo ang nagbabayad niyan.
Opo.
Yes. Oo.
Pero ina-approvean ng ERC yan bago,
But this is also another subsidy na binibigay natin.
Yes, which we can reduce once yung pumasok na yung mga solar, pumasok na yung mga renewables. Kasi ang solar ngayon, 299 production cost.
Itong NPP, mga private companies to.
Private companies.
Sino ho ang nag-engage sa kanila?
Ay, yung co-op po ang may PSA sa kanila.
Mga
Kami,
co-op may mga PSA sa
oh,
kanila.
sila po. Hindi kami kasali doon sa...
So you're just the paying agent.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're just the paying agent.
So yun dapat matingnan din.
Bakit po kayo meron sa presentation nyo, tapos na ba yun?
Ah.
Yung ano yung Limasawa Solar Hybrid? Limasawa Leyte.
It's a...
Bakit nyo popondohan? Bakit po nyo popondohan?
No, it's a project, pilot project na yun, para matingnan namin yung operation ng hybrid. Ano bang epekto during the day, epekto during the night. Kasi
Megawatts is this?
maliit lang yun, 120 kilowatt. Testing, para makita lang namin kung anong behavior ng hybrid.
Ano, you selected a sitio?
Yung LGU ang pumili po.
To pursue yung nasabi ni ma'am, no? Itong NPP, ang source na itong pondo is UCME.
Yes, Your
Tama,
Honor.
UCME.
Mm.
New Power
New
Producer.
power provider.
New Power Provider. Private ho to, ma'am eh.
Private.
They're private.
Kami yung old power
Yes.
provider, sila yung new.
Yes, but they still get subsidies.
Mm.
They still get subsidies. Yes, NPP. Kasi mahal yung kanilang generation, tapos mura yung charge sa customer. Merong
Kasi meron ang
Yung
NPC po, may socially acceptable grid rate na sinasabi namin, between 5 to 6 pesos. Yung new power provider, ang production cost niya na
Yes,
pinirmahan doon sa co-op, palagay mo 10 pesos,
Yun ang problema ang sinasabi ko. Minamahalan ng co-op yung PSA, hindi naman dapat. So, hindi kailangan may subsidiya at makakatipid tayo ng, alam mo yun eh, sinabi mo in one of your speeches, ilang billion, di ba? 100 billion? Yung, basta may malaki. Ang matitipid, hindi ka lang subsidiya kung hindi tinataasan ng co-op yung rate ng kanilang PSA, di ba po?
Kaya nga ngayon, maraming CSP na ginawa ang co-op na hindi tinanggap ng DOE kasi yung production, yung pinirma nilang kontrata is higher than our production cost. Kung mataas sa amin, ba't kukunin yung bagong new power provider na yun?
anong mechanism ho para pumasok ang NPP?
We don't know how the co-op...
How do, sinasabi ho sa NPC na alis na kayo dito,
Oh,
NPP.
sasabihin nila, alis na kayo, ito yung kontrata namin.
Ganun kasimple lang. Ho.
Ganun lang.
Hindi, ang nangyayari ho, ma'am, kasi, for example, diesel, papasok sila ng kontrata. Magkano na ngayon? 12, 16?
Ang
Diesel?
yung production cost,
Aha.
sa amin is 11,
Sabihin na natin 12.
12.
They will not charge the consumers 12 eh.
Oh.
They will only charge them, let's say,
5 or 6 pesos.
About 6.
lang, meron kasing subsidy coming from
From
Yung
in-
6 na difference, tayo nagbabayad no?
CME.
Through UCME.
Yes.
Bayad natin, kinokolekta through NAPOCOR
Yeah.
na binibigay ng NAPOCOR sa new PP,
New
NPP.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
Na dapat wala yun.
Kaya paying agent kayo, no?
Oo, kung tanggalin mo yun, ay makaka-relieve sa taong bayan, di ba ho?
Right, right.
In short, naintindihan ko na, kung yung co-op ay hindi pumapasok sa anomalous PSAs na 11 pesos at ibigay yung tunay na cost na kaya naman 5 piso, sabihin mo na, hindi na kailangan yung paying agent na magbigay ng subsidiya na hindi na kailangan mangolekta sa ating lahat at hindi na kailangan nating alagaan yun dahil kaya naman sa 5 piso.
Yeah.
So ang susi, si co-op. Dapat yung anomalous PSAs na mataas na doble ang presyo ay i-avoid. That's what I kept on asking Nea.
That's why we are supporting the bill of Senator Gatchalian on CSP. Yung bill na sinusuporta namin kasi critical yun eh. Para transparent yung
Yun ang importante.
Transparent
CSP,
yung ano eh.
transparent at talagang least cost.
Oh.
Kasi mga technology neutral. Dapat lahat CSP.
Tama.
Yun na nga ang nangyayari. Doble ang presyo, NPP palang tawag doon.
New power provider.
Pero dobleng presyo, pero actually, may subsidiya pala sila. At marami dyan, bunker at diesel, hindi ba?
Opo.
Yun na nga. How do you avoid that? Si Nea yun.
Niya yun.
O yun, sa policy na gagawin ni administrator, i-check mo yun na hindi dapat, that's part of the areas that should be waived? I don't know, paano ba yun? O ECSP?
Kasi ma'am, may ano kasi yan eh, yung kontrata nila minsan skewed eh. No? So we have to really make sure that the TOR is
Tama.
walang
Tama.
walang pinapaboran technology.
May iba pang sinasabi, bawal ang solar. Meron pang ganun. Bawal ang RE.
Iba ho kasi yung kailangan ano.
Actually, ang problema namin sa Camotes. Kasi supposed to be pull out na kami. Kasi may CSP na sila. Ba't kinwestiyon ngayon ng DOE? Bakit ganun ang pinipirma nyo? 15 yung pinipirma nyo. Ang NPC 13 lang. So ngayon, nakapending ngayon.
Pupunta sa mas mahal sa inyo.
Yun yung tanong. So,
Maraming nahiwaga, no?
so ngayon, kami nagsusupply ng power. Ang problema namin, hindi namin pinag-program kasi ang program namin, take over na yung new power provider.
Example yun, ba't hindi mag-CSP? Bakit pa kailangan intayin yung batas ni Senator Sherwin? Ba't hindi mag-CSP kung sinong kaya magbagsak ng presyo ng 5 piso? Bakit pupunta sa 15 o sa 13 kung may 5 piso?
Hindi, ang problema kasi yung co-op is private, private corporation. It depends on the directors kung anong style nila ng ano.
So yun ang sa policy ng mayor. How do you arrest the problem ng co-op? Pinapaboran yung mahal. Kawawa ang tao.
Mr. Benavides, just to go back itong additional genset, no? I understand that kailangan to doon sa mga high risk areas. But then again, no, when you contract these gensets, going back to the cost, no? Because obviously when you buy diesel power, mas mahal siya, no?
Opo.
And babagsak na naman to sa UCME natin, no? Is there any move to also look at hybrid system?
No, we are moving towards that. Doon sa budget lang namin, if you look at the budget, it's 12 megawatts. It does
Yes.
not mean na diesel siya.
Okay.
Yung neutral kami sa fuel.
So,
Kung sino makapag-supply ng
so be open to.
Yes,
Open
yes.
to. So for example, I need 5 megawatts in Basilan.
Yeah.
Basta maka-provide kayo ng 24/7.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, at a per cost of per megawatt hour, laban-laban
Go.
kayo. So, laban-laban kayo.
Go yun, go. Fuel neutral kami. That's why ina-assess namin lahat ng areas na ngayon. Kung alin yung, we're looking at almost 2 megawatts na pwede namin offer straightforward solar. Kasi ito yung maliliit na isla na 20, 40 kilowatts na pwedeng solar.
Alright, that's good ano kasi yun rin isang hinahanap namin how to reduce yung UCME.
Yes.
Kung pasok tayo ng pasok sa kagaya itong 1.2 billion papasok na naman sa 16 peso contract, paikot-ikot lang tayo. Paikot-ikot.
What's your solution? We cannot, ganito. Pag hindi natin sila, pag hindi kayo magbigay sa kanila, mapipilitan sila mag-contract.
Wala silang ma'am dito sa
Basilan,
dito sa
Tawi-Tawi,
bagong generation sets, this will be placed in the high-risk
Basilan,
areas.
Sulu, Tawi-Tawi.
So,
Walang-
in that case, direct contracting yan, no?
Oo, kasi walang pupunta doon na ano.
pumapasok, So, yun ang ano nila. They can now offer cheaper systems.
Yeah, actually, we are trying to organize. Nagbibili na kami ng panel, solar panel. Kami na mag-install doon. Kasi yung mga tao namin, sanay na doon sa lugar doon. Kasi kung bagong tao na magtatayo doon, security-wise, baka mahirapan. So, yun ang idea namin. We buy panels, we install it there. Mura naman yung panels na ngayon, eh.
Hindi bawal kumain, ha? General?
Yes, ma'am.
Pag hearing ko, puro gulay at saka isda lang. Brown rice, bawal ang puti rito. Si Sherwin lang maputi. Bawal ang puti.
Mr. Benavides, dito
Yes.
po sa ano nyo, no, there's an 800 million allotment for transmission lines.
Yes.
Ilan ho dito ang for Palawan?
Ang Palawan po nasa 20 sa yung for 2018 wala pa yung Palawan dito kasi yung engineering side pa lang po ang ginagawa namin ngayon.
So wala pong
Survey.
Palawan dito.
Wala pa yung survey. Taytay lang ang kasama. Taytay
Taytay El Nido 69 kV.
Taytay 69 kV substation para masimulan
Meron
yung
dito sa number 3.
Number
Taytay El
three.
Nido 69 kV transmission line.
Yeah, yan yung right to, yung substation lang muna itatayo namin. Supposed to be finished by 2019. From the substation, gagawin na namin yung engineering and completion ng pataas.
So wala pa ho in 2018 wala pang allocation for the
For Palawan line.
for transmission line.
We are sa right to pay, Roasaytay up to service contract, construction for the Roasaytay would be from January 2019.
Pero wala pang transmission lines.
Wala pa.
These are all just right of way acquisition.
Substation muna, tapos yung engineering side, right of way, survey, partial survey, land procurement. Yun pa muna ang a year ata yung kailangan namin para tapusin yun. Yung linya.
Can you submit to us, sir, itong sa Palawan lang?
Yeah, sure.
Kasi we have a pending investigation there.
Okay.
And I think in line with Ma'am Lawrence, yung kaninang nasabi niya about microgrid.
Yeah,
And I think there's now more merit looking at
Yes.
microgrid in this type of areas. Kasi nga, sabi niyo, 170 kilometers
Yeah. Actually,
to connect all those. No?
may seminar sa microgrid by next week. So atin yung mga tao namin. May pa-seminar on microgrid by next week. Oh.
Okay.
Atin yung mga tao namin eh. I think,
Seminar micro.
I'm not sure, I just see it this morning. Meron. Yes, sure.
Ask Energy Committee and Finance Committee
Meron ho yata, ERC yata, and
So do I understand it clearly, Mr. Benavides, na ang NPC, maliwanag ang mandate that it does not plan to expand
No,
its diesel generation facilities?
no.
Um,
Our mandate is to get out of
to get
power
out.
generation.
Okay, clear naman po. Tapos, ihahayaan nyo ang private sector in an open, transparent,
Neutral, fuel neutral, ano.
yes, neutral process to obtain the least cost to consumers.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hindi po natin parang pinapigilan yung pag-implement ng EPIRA at kuha tayo ng diesel or bunker
Yeah.
generator contracts, tapos meron naman private sector na mas mura, at pag hindi po ganon.
Hindi po.
So maliwanag.
Sabi
ang
nga
ating-
doon sa mayor ng Lubang, if the price is lower than 6 pesos, then, we have no objection.
You're saying in all NAPOCOR-held areas, if there's a private sector that could give competitive or lower cost, more reliable than diesel or bunker or cleaner, you will yield.
Yeah, no
E
problem.
paano po kung meron kayong kontrata sa isang diesel genset na rental or supplier?
Yung rental kasi namin, pwede naming i-terminate anytime.
Ganun po ang inyong
Ganun ang
kontrata.
ruling namin.
Hindi kayo nag-PPSA na 20 years, 10 years,
No,
5 years, hindi po.
No, madam. Kasi ang mandate kasi namin, dapat pull out ka na eh.
Pull out kayo. Okay.
Karamihan sa amin rental, 6 months rental, pero monthly yung you can terminate anytime.
Okay. So, ano po ang lahat ng NPC held areas, ilang total ang megawatts?
Right now, dependable is to 301, peak is 211.
Can I have a list of those
Sure.
areas? Yeah, oo. Sige po. So, I like your attitude and you're really complying with EPIRA, hindi ine-expand ang kingdom na na pine-prevent ang implementasyon at maliwag. Career kasi siya, alam niya yung at talagang you don't compete with the private sector, and if there's anyone cheaper, reliable
Go
for
ahead.
the people, go ahead.
Oh, yes, madam.
Maybe you should talk more to the co-ops so that they can think like that, diba? Kasi at the end of the day, it should be the public's
No, I think,
welfare.
unsolicited information siguro. We have to look at it from a management point of view. Yung co-op kasi private, pero yung GM, appointed na niya. Appointed.
not all naman, GM. Sir, not all naman.
Anong ibig niyo sabihin? Sabihin niyo yung ibig ko sabihin yung
Hindi,
Yung mga ailing, but not all naman. There should be appointed by the board.
yeah, but from the list of niya. Kasi, ganyan, they've just changed their GM in Mindoro, both general manager, and also in Masbate. Yung GM nila pinalitan din.
appointed ng NIA, anong ibig sabihin? Anong repercussion nun? Ano po ang epekto?
I don't know, but kung ang board mo ay puro private, tapos yung GM mo ay gobyerno, so saan kukuha ng mandatos o direction yung GM? Doon sa head ng NIA o dito sa board of directors?
Alam ko ho, they hire locally. They hire locally. Yan ang alam kong mechanism because it's supposed to be a independent board that chooses it.
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be. Sir, just to recap from my end, no, I just need yung plans and programs for Palawan just to
Yes,
understand. No?
yes.
And then earlier you said just to connect yung tatlong lugar, kailangan, that's 170 kilometers, is that correct?
Yeah, total, I think, roughly.
To connect ka.
We'll ask my Vice President for you to go to your office and submit all these documents, Your Honor.
Para rin, will
Para ma-explain din sa inyo kung ano talaga yung mga detalye.
yun lang kailangan namin to, at least from my end, no? 3.5 billion. To connect. Oo, kasi putol siya sa dulo, ma'am.
170 kilometers.
170 ba ho yung to connect, yung tatlo? Parang haba, ah.
Kung microgrid na, wala kang gastos.
Kaya nga eh. And then wala pa hong right of way ito?
Wala pa yung lupa.
Hindi, bibilin pa,
Bibilin pa lang,
bibilin
sir.
pa lang. Pero now we are moving towards, instead of towers, steel poles na lang. One is you don't affect much the land. Ang bibilin mo lang yung tower occupancy, yung tinusukan lang ng poste.
Mr. Pio, taunan po yun, land acquisition, 370 million or billion? Billion. Ano?
No, 3 point,
3 point, no, the 170 kilometers.
yeah, that's 3.7 billion.
Ay,
3.7.
magtayo lang ng microgrid.
Yeah, but
Bakit po tayo, pwede naman po, anong mga barangay po anong mga bayan po ng Palawan ito?
El Nido, San Vicente, Taytay, Roas.
Kaya nga po, ba't hindi mag-microgrid na lang? Bakit po kailangan ng halos 4 na bilyon na magla-land acquisition pa, nakatagal-tagal, ilang dekada na pong walang kuryente nga ang tao? Sa ilalim ba yan ng co-op, ng Paleco? Di, i-waive ng co-op, CSP ang pribadong sektor, magtayo ng microgrid.
Then, kung i-wave ng co-op, then...
Yes, di ba? Yun ang ano dyan eh. Why will you put 4 billion from our budget? You wait years. Land acquisition takes so long, I'm sure we will be sitting here next year. Hindi pa nagagawa yan. Naku,
Hindi po, yung
in the
land
meantime,
acquisition-
walang kuryente ang Sibaltan, ang San Fernando, San Vicente, all of these areas. E di, i-wave ng co-op, kaya importante yung policy niya, i-wave ng co-op yan, at pag-microgrid, hayaan mo pribadong sektor, mag-contest sila pababaan ng presyo.
Ayan, one of the options kasi, yung pag winave nila, sige, di ba? Hindi na. Natin ko train.
Can I ask a technical, guys? Is it 170 kilometers? Tama po ba?
Actually, it's 265 kilometers.
To connect yung 4 na town na yun.
Yeah, to the main grid.
To the main grid. Ilan po? 200?
265.
Grabe.
Coming from Puerto Princesa pa ho?
Hindi, from Rojas to...
From Rojas.
Nasa dulo na.
Nasa Rojas ang generator.
Hindi, Rojas ang pinakadulo.
Hindi, saan po yung generator?
Nasa Puerto Princesa.
Puerto. Kaya nga, galing pa sa Puerto, pupunta pa ng El Nido hanggang Rojas pala. Rojas, El Nido. Ay,
Bali,
naku.
Rojas,
Yeah.
Taytay, San Vicente, El Nido.
Correct. No, in terms of papuntang ganon, from Puerto, Rojas, San Vicente, El Nido, Taytay, El Nido. Bakit kailangan ng 4 na bilyong piso at bibili ng lupa sa 200 plus kilometers na masalimuot dahil may IP issues, puro tax dekampalawan? I am certain we will be sitting here next year, hindi pa po nagagawa yung proyekto.
Pag winave ng co-op, then you have no problem.
Correct. Pag wave ng co-op, yun. Kaya, can you work on that with NEA to convince the co-op to just waive the area and lagyan ng taning? 1 year, there should be CSP of private sector. Maglaban-laban silang lahat to do that instead of 4 billion from government funds.
Siguro ma'am, i-expand lang yung QTP. Meron ng mechanism no, just to expand yung QTP.
Yung
Kasi the
problema
QTP
sa-
around,
the problem with QTP is, sino yung Swiss challenge? Yun ang isang problema. The other thing that we can do is ask the co-op to sign a PSA per town sa individual power producers. Hindi na. Kung kaya niyang gawin yun, hindi na kailangan.
Better and faster. So the co-op waves, you don't need the funds, we save money.
Oh,
And the people will have electricity sooner.
yes, madam.
So co-op ang
Ang key.
key.
Yan sila talaga ang key. May practice eh. They have the franchise. So.
ako, dapat hindi pala natin.
Anyway, he's crafting the policy.
Yeah.
darating naman
we
dito.
can ask him naman.
No.
Ma'am, I don't have any more questions. I'm
Pwede na kumain ng saba.
Salamat, ma'am.
Ako'y maraming tanong pero hindi na okay na po.
Salamat, ma'am.
Anyway,
So just to clarify, your commitment to the gensets na diesel, bunker, yung marumi, ay pwedeng ma-waive, ma-terminate, hindi long-term contracts na nakapako po doon pag merong mas malinis na mura. Okay, clear. Thank you. Magsubo muna si Admiral, 5 minutes CR break, lunch break, 5 minutes. Pero Yes. Okay. You okay, Senator Sherwin? Yes. We've recognized already the PNOC family. Right. Please proceed.
Senate Committee Chairman Finance Laurel Lagada, Senate Committee on Energy Chairman Win Gatchalian. Good afternoon po. This is the outline of our presentation. Before that, I would like to introduce our two presidents of our subsidiaries, Attorney Pita Aquino of the PNOCEC and Mr. John Arenas of PNOCRC. This is the outline of our presentation. Ayaw. The PNOC's vision is anchored on the DOE's nine-point agenda, specifically developing LNG needs in anticipation of the depletion of Malampaya. PNOC's vision is that by 2030, PNOC has provided vital energy resource development and energy infrastructure conducive to clean and balanced and economic growth. PNOC's mission is, through the efforts and initiative of a dedicated and competent workforce, PNOC is committed to the following. This is what we are doing now in 2017. These are the plans and programs for 2017. We are developing a framework for the PNOC LNG project, and we are looking at the best option to utilize the bank gas preparatory as an equity in establishing the LNG hub. We are developing the PNOC Batangas properties toward an LNG hub using the income that will be derived from the bank gas. Our other projects, we are reviewing the contracts of PNOC with Petron on the 67 service stations, 24 bulk plants and depot, and the refinery, 295-hectare refinery in Bataan. We are also facilitating the disposal of 7 apartments in El Pueblo and other assets in Costa Verde. We have submitted our PNOC reorganization plan to GCG, and we have visited them twice. We were promised that they will approve it within the year. We are continuing the administration of the PNOC Industrial Park and exploring opportunities to partner with prospective partners. To date, we have a letter offer from the group of Petron and San Miguel. We have already passed the PNOC Industrial Park Surveillance Audit, and we have been recommended to be certificated for PNOC ISO 9001 just last month. These are our corporate priorities for 2018. We will continue to optimize the value of the bank gas by monetizing it, either through direct sale, trading, or burning it into electricity in order to pursue the establishment of the Batangas Liquefied Natural Gas Hub project without excessive and burdensome loans on the government. The hub will include regasification facilities, loading and unloading facilities for distribution and redistribution, and a power plant, scalable from 200 to 800 megawatts. We will maximize the value of the PNOC's real assets, state assets, to fund PNOC's programs and projects. In order to do that, we will maximize utilization and the rental of our properties from Petron, and we will look for companies that will develop the balance of 230 hectares in Lima and Maribeles, Bataan. We continue to formulate strategic and business directions for PNOC, EC, and PNOCRT. We will monitor PNOC and RC's work plans and programs as well as budget in compliance with their mandates. We will pursue the implementation of the reorganizational plan and ensure adequate and timely compliance with government oversight agencies' reportorial requirements. This is our PNOC 2018 budget as compared to the 27 budget. There is an increase of 117%. There is an increase in CapEx. There is an increase of 223%. This is for LNG projects. For the ESB land, we have an increase of 164% in order to purchase the land inside the ESB base. And we have our budget for PNOC buildings and equipment is lesser than the 2017 budget. For MOOE, we have a 52% increase because we will pay the tie-in cost for the delivery fee for the bank gas, worth 3.2 billion as payment of the 6.5 petajoules that Philippine Shell bought in 2014, and a 4% for tax for PNOC properties. We have an increase for personal services of 87% for the compensation position and classification system, and 71% for the early retirement incentive plan. The 18% is for the increase in salaries from IS in 27 to 2010 in 2018. I submitted, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, a report of a brief on how we will fund the 500 million and other expenses in the budget, which was submitted yesterday and this morning to your respective offices. And in a nutshell, it is actually monetizing. We already have money from the sale of the 6.5 petajoules in 2014. We will start collecting them in the third quarter of next year. And we expect also to make money from the bank gas. We have 97.67 petajoules. We can monetize this by trading either locally, which will make for the Philippine National Oil Company $650 million or 33 billion, or extract it and burn it, and we will sell it as electricity, which will make more money for the PNOC, and this will be used to finance the construction of the LNG base, LNG hub. The other option, because we are having some problems with selling it locally, is that we can sell it, but this will have to be under properly evaluated by the board. If we cannot burn or sell it outside the country or burn it for electricity, we will have to seriously reconsider lowering the price, because we are prohibited from selling the LNG at the current cost of Ilihan, which is $6.616 per gigabytes. So
Pumapatak po yun per kilowatt.
when you sell gas, ma'am, we sell it at gigabytes, and we sell this. The two buyers now, ma'am, are First Gen. They have 4 LNG power plants, and Ilihan, they have 1,200 megawatts. Unfortunately, we can only bring out through the pipe 11.8 petajoules per annum. And if you look at the GSPA of both companies, the GSPA of Ilihan will expire in 2022, and the GSPA of First Gen will expire in 2024. So locally, ma'am, and Your Honors, we cannot sell locally unless we sell it lower than the 6.16. So we came up with the option of extracting it, burning it through FSRU PP, or a floating ship power plant. this is where we are, and I hope we were able to explain the 500 million that was mentioned by the good Senator Win Gatchalian. It is allocated as follows. The 50 we need a feasibility study to determine where we are going, and this will cost 50 million pesos for the conduct of the detailed feasibility study, for the optimization of the bancas, as well as the most appropriate business arrangement that is legally, technically, and financially feasible for phase 1, which is the FSRU PP project. For the 200 million, for the conduct of another detailed feasibility study and the establishment of the phase 2 or the LNG hub project. Both feasibility studies will not only establish whether the two projects should be continued, but it will also include the selection process of our prospective partners from the 67 proponents or offerers. We also allocated 60 million for the conduct of studies and grid and systems impact in relation to the connection of the Batangas Bay substation. 90 million for the provision of a possible lease at the proposed site of the LNG hub project. There are three possible areas that are being offered. One is the NDC property, 135 hectare property of NDC in San Pascual, Batangas, which is only 800 meters from the first off-taker, which is First Gen. The other offerer and the good governor, Dodo Mandanas, will be at the office at 4 o'clock this afternoon to discuss with us the possibility of their provincial property that they also want to partner with us, that will be the site of the LNG hub. And we appropriated 90 million for this, whether they will lease it to us or partner with us as part of their equity. If this is their equity, Your Honors, then the 90 million will not be used. And then this is also appropriated. We have a 11.8 property in Bawang, Batangas, owned by the PNOC family. But Keppel won in their case, and there has been a Supreme Court decision which we filed for a motion for consideration and the citizenship, because the Supreme Court approved the sale of the property for only 4 million pesos, and the value of the property is 800 million. We are expecting that Keppel will offer a value to us, and this amount is being appropriated as a counter offer, just in case we need to counter offer. This also includes the 100 million for the development, construction of a training facility, and living quarters for the on-site project management of staff in our Banaba property, 10 minutes away from the expected or the proposed sites of both of the hub. The funding source for this allocation will be from existing PNOC funds, which will be replenished from the income sale of the bancas to withdrawn starting 2018. This is coming from the 3.8 billion income from the sale of the 6.5 petajoules. PNOC is currently finalizing the agreement with the International Finance Corporation, a member of the World Bank Group, for the development of a comprehensive terms of reference for the aforementioned feasibility studies, including providing assistance in forging the most appropriate business arrangement. We choose IFC, Your Honors, because it is a World Bank. It is a World Bank and World Bank entity, and it does not need any bidding, just like their consultancy with Clark and the other government projects. The two other subsidiaries, the presidents of the two other subsidiaries, Your Honors, will now conduct their own briefing. Thank you very much. Unless you have any other questions.
Admiral, maybe it's a better idea to complete all the briefings, then we can later on throw some questions.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Senator Win. We're not actually presenting our budget for approval, no? Since it's only PNOC's budget that's submitted to Congress for approval. But just the same, we'll give you a briefer about what our company does.
Subsidiary, so pasok na sa mother company, ano?
No,
How is it?
our budget is different. We only submit our budget for their approval, but this does not form part of the budget of PNOC because under 7638, only the budget of PNOC, NEA, and NAPOCOR are submitted to Congress for approval, but not the subsidiaries.
Subsidiaries.
Hindi po consolidated yan. Only in
Sila
the...
consolidated.
Hindi po.
Okay.
Sa financials lang po, sa annual. But we have our own separate budgets.
And you have your own revenue.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then the revenue is being, how do you appropriate the revenue? Sarili na yun.
Yes, these are all internally generated funds. And we're being supervised by the Governance Commission for Government Corporations.
Same with ERC also?
Same with
RC?
Same with
So
RC.
only the financial component is
Consolidated, yes.
But
The plans,
governance-wise, hiwalay rin? Or you have the same board?
no, we have different boards.
A different board, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But now, under a new EO that was issued by the President, the Secretary of Energy is now an ex officio chairman of both EC and RC.
Okay, all right. Okay, sige pa. Please continue.
Okay. PNOC Exploration Corporation is the upstream, downstream subsidiary of PNOC mother. We were incorporated on April 20, 1976. And as a government corporation, we're under the supervision of the Governance Commission for Government Corporations. We are certified ISO 9001-2008. We are in the top 10 of the GCG in terms of good governance. We have participating interest in 8 service contracts and 4 cooperating contracts. Service contracts 37, which is in Cagayan Basin, 38, which is Malampaya, together with Shell Exploration and Zebron, 57 in the West Philippine Sea, together with Mitra Energy and CNOC of China. Unfortunately, the assignment, because we farm out to CNOC, the assignment needs the approval of the President, no less, because CNOC is 100% foreign-owned. Under the Petroleum Act of the Philippines, any assignment of a participating interest in a service contract where the operator is 100% foreign-owned, that has to be approved no less by the President of the Philippines. No? And that request has been pending with the Office of the President since 2010. So we're hoping that anytime now, the President Duterte will already approve the assignment to CNOC. We have also interest in service contract 58, 59, 63, 74, and 75, all in the West Philippine Sea, Your Honor. Our cooperating projects are in mostly in Zamboanga, Sibugay, the municipality of Malangas, Bug, and Imelda. And we have a service contract in Isabela. 2 years ago, we made a natural gas discovery in the city of Santiago in Isabela. We were able to discover gas, natural gas. We're still trying to make the assessment on the well to determine how much reserve there is there underground. Our efforts are focused mainly in trying to comply with our obligations with the DOE, especially in the maintenance of our service contracts. Our biggest challenge, Your Honor, Madam Chair, is compliance with certain government regulations which we feel hamper our operations. No? And a specific case is EO 556, which provides that the farm in and farm out to be made by PNOC insofar as its service contracts are concerned will have to undergo public bidding. To us, this is proving to be very difficult because most of the players in the oil industry would not want to subject themselves into a public bidding. No? For them to partner us in the service contract and undergo a public bidding is not doing well. We tried to farm out or bid out service contract 37, the one that we found gas in Isabela, and there was a failed bidding. Nobody participated. We're also being hampered by the new data guidelines for joint venture companies. And we hope that we will be able to get the support, especially of the committee, for us to be able to address these major issues, Your Honor. We're also trying to expand our horizons by going overseas because of the difficulty in finding oil and gas in the Philippines, and because of the current situation in the West Philippine Sea where there is a stalemate. There has been no major drilling operations being done in that part because of the dispute between the Philippines and China. So we ventured on international opportunities. We're currently doing some assessment for a possible two gas fields in the Islamic Republic of Iran, and hopefully together with our consortium partners pursue the establishment of an LNG liquefaction plant. We also have signed an agreement with Rosneft of Russia for the forward sale of some crude and petroleum products. We're hoping that the revenues that PNOC will derive from these overseas ventures will help fund us our projects in the event that Marampaya runs out of gas. We really have to position ourselves to be able to pursue our mandate as an exploration company. Because as you know, exploration is a high risk and highly capital intensive endeavor. And this is the reason why we are at this point in time trying to look for other sources of revenue for the company. For 2017, we expect to generate 4.2 billion in revenues and a net income of 949 million. And for the year 2018, we project to generate 3.8 billion in revenues and a net income of 670 million. You may wonder why there is a decline in the revenue and in the net income. This is due to the fact that 90% of our revenue comes from the sale of gas in Malampaya. And since the price of oil has gone down, so is the price of gas, because the gas is benchmarked at the basket of crude prices.
Attorney, ito sa 2017, how much is your net income again?
Our net income is projected to be around 949 million, Your Honor.
49. And then, itong net income goes to Treasury.
We make a dividend declaration. No?
Okay.
Of course, we will have to appropriate something for our projects.
Yes.
No? And out of that,
Everything is
everything goes to the National Treasury
through dividends.
through dividends. Because recently, the Department of Finance issued a circular that mandates us to remit 100% of dividend to the National Treasury. Before, PNOC, our mother company, used to get 50% of that, but now everything goes to the national government. So that would be all, Your Honor,
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
And this arrangement of your financial independence is in your charter. That's how it was structured.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. It's a ibang klaseng arrangement eh.
Yes, because we were incorporated under the corporation law.
Okay.
PNOC has an original charter.
Charter.
Yes.
Okay. Sa RC po, any presentation to...
Yes, we have a good afternoon, Madam Chair and Mr. Chairman. We have a short presentation. PNOC RC was created March 7, 2008. PNOC RC is the corporate arm of the Philippine National Oil Company and the Department of Energy in implementation and development of renewable energy and energy efficiency programs. As you can see, Madam Chair and Mr. Chair, our project updates as follows. We have a geothermal plant in Mahibarara with a 10% stake. We also have hydropower projects as follows. Nalatang, 44 megawatts. Rizal, 1 megawatt. Muñoz, half megawatt. Aris, 2 and 3, 0.9 and 0.5 megawatt. We have our solar rooftop projects with government buildings as follows. Philippine Heart Center, 100 kilowatt. Department of Science and Technology, 100 kilowatt. DNR, 100 kilowatt. Philippine Coconut Authority, 80 kilowatts. UP Diliman, 240 kilowatts. Commission on Audit, 200 kilowatts. Bangko Sentral ng Filipinas, 600 kilowatts. PICC, 1.2 megawatt. UP Diliman again with an ongoing negotiation of 900 kilowatt. Laguna Lake Development Authority with an 80 kilowatt. Quezon Memorial Medical Center, 100 kilowatt. BSP QC Mint Building, 400. And BSP Regional Offices, 160. And then the present request of the House of Representatives for a 470 kilowatt. And then we also have the energy efficiency projects. Philippine Safety College, 3,725 bulbs. UP Los Baños, 26,680 bulbs. And UP Diliman, 33,461 bulbs. That's all, Madam Chair and Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Nag-uusap lang kami ni Ma'am Lauren nung the first instinct, actually same instinct ko rin na yung bulbs, hindi ba pwedeng they can just buy it straight to the supplier?
They can do this work requested of us. So we had to go there and do an assessment.
Public Safety College, hindi mo nang bubiling bumbilin.
Actually, hindi lang po bulbs ang pinapalitan po namin.
Okay. And it's the same financial structure? You don't, you have your own revenue,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
dividends, all go
Yes,
to
Mr.
the-
Chair.
Okay, all right. All right. I have a few questions lang, ma'am, if kind indulgence. I think we go back to the original, I think during the initial hearing, I think the most glaring aspect of the budget is really the 178% increase, no, of PNOC's budget, 176% to be exact, and that's almost threefold from 2017. And I mean, just listening from the briefing, talagang may change in policy, no, when it comes to PNOC. And may I just ask, Admiral, sir, ano na ba ho ang bagong direksyon ng PNOC, no?
Yeah, thank you.
The increase in budget definitely reflects the new
Yes, sir.
vision, no,
Yes,
of
For the
DOE
past-
and PNC. So
Yes, sir.
where are we going, no?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, Your Honor, for the past 20 years, the Philippine National Oil Company has been a holding company. Upon the assumption of the current administration and the current secretary, because since 2015, we have already a GCG decision that we should be an operating company. And upon the assumption of Secretary Cusi as the Secretary of Energy, and upon my assumption in November 2015, we were directed to operationalize the Philippine National Oil Company. And the increase, Mr. Chair, Your Honor, is because of the fact that the Philippine National Oil Company has four subsidiaries that were abolished before. And from these four subsidiaries, 475 people were running the show before. And today, all the assets of these four subsidiaries were transferred to the Philippine National Oil Company, like the park, the one in DMC, PAFC, EDC, and the PSTC. These are the four abolished companies of the we have a
Sorry.
yes, sir.
Just to cut you off a little bit, no? When you say operating, no, ano yung direction ng operations? No? What is envisioned for PNOC? No?
To maximize the usage, whatever asset. That's what the first thing that we did at PNOC is an inventory of what we have. And after the inventory, we made a plan on how to maximize this. Because even if we have in our present TOE, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, we have actually enough personnel, but this was never filled up. We have 43 unfilled up positions in the PNOC because this was scheduled for evaluation. But lately, when we had a meeting, we already had 3 meetings with GCG, Madam Chair, Your Honor. They authorized us to fill up the 43. And so we pushed already for the reorganization because to become more effective, we need an investment arm in the Philippine National Oil Company. And so there is from the 450 for the 43 that we needed, there is actually, we will just be adding actually 10 more. We will just fill up the 43 plus 10 more, so we need 53 more personnel. And this is what the increase in personnel services of 176%, Your Honor. In the maintenance and operating expenses, as you will see, these are not expenses, Your Honor, because this is a payment to the government. 4% tax and 48% of that is a tie-in cost or delivery fee for the bank gas, from the 3.2 billion income of the bank gas. So ito ho, bayad po natin sa gobyerno. So hindi expense ito, but we'll just have to allocate it in our budget. The only thing here that we would like to explain is the 500 million, which is the real thing that, if you notice the MOOE, Your Honor, yung increase ho dyan, yung bayad ho namin dun sa tie-in cost at saka delivery fee ng 3.2 billion as a whole. So, yun ho yung kwanton. So, explain ho yung MOOE. So, yung hindi na ho i-explain ho dito, yung 500 million which I explained a little earlier, but this will be covered again by the income of the bank gas. Because if we cannot monetize the bank gas, Your Honor, within 2024, it might be a stranded cost. So we have to plan it now, and this is the reason why we need to come up with a feasibility study and which direction we should take. Do we do it government to government? Do we do it PPP? Do we do it joint venture? Do we do it with the provincial government? Should we monetize this and ourselves and then do it ourselves? These are the things that we will identify in the feasibility study and the phase 1. After the phase 1, we will now also have to come up with another feasibility, and the offer of the proponent. Is the offer of the proponent really doable? Are we going to make money together? These are the directions that we are going to see. So these two things, the first and the second one, the two feasibility studies, Your Honor, 250 million is really needed. The third one, which is 60 million, and the conduct studies and impact, is also necessary after NEDA and NEDA has already approved the contract with the proponent. So again, the 310 million is actually necessary. What we concede as not necessary, Your Honor, Madam Chair, is the 190 million, because these are just in case. Because the life of the budget, Madam Chair and Your Honor, is 2 years. So what if we need this in 2018 and 2019? So inilalagay na lang ho namin ito, just in case kailangan ho namin to. But if the...
Year na lang po ang budget, 12 months.
Then, ma'am, the more that we should put this in, because we do not know if this is necessary in the list with NDC, with the provincial government. And of course, and the need to construct the training facility and the living quarters for our people.
Thank you, Admiral. Let me just, based on the analysis by the Senate Research Office, kalahati po nung increase will go to 4 big items, no, amounting to 822 million. Let me just go to and then you mentioned there are two, main objectives, no, for PNOC to be revived. This is the sale of the bank gas, which is the phase 1, and then the LNG project, which is the phase 2. Dito po sa increase ng pondo, in the sale and monetization of bank gas, you allocated 268 million, no? And I just want to understand po kung paano po gagamitin tong 268 million.
I'm sorry, sir. The 268 million is the one
That I thought, the 268 million, Your Honor, is 255 million of that is for the tie-in cost and delivery fee. Ito ho yung bayad natin doon sa lump sum ng 3.2 billion. So ito hindi ho expense. Ito pupunta ho sa parang, will you please explain what is a tie-in
Sale
cost?
and monetization, no? That's part of the request, no, from the budget. So
Hindi ho, bayad ho, ito ho yung tie-in cost and delivery fee. In reference to dun sa kinita natin yung 3.2, right? Explain mo.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, with your permission, yung po kasing bank gas na nabenta ito share, kasama po dun sa joint sale that ginawa po ng consortium, no? PNOCEC is part of the Malampaya consortium. We own 10% of that interest in the Malampaya.
right.
So, nung pong binenta yung gas sa Pilipinas Shell, since PNOC po kasama doon yung bank, portion of the bank gas, meron pong attendant cost. Yun po yung share ng PNOC, yung sinasabi po nila na 255 million. But this is paid to the consortium. Parang free, no?
Of which 10% makukuha nyo.
Yes.
Theoretically.
And then of that, 60% of that goes to the national government by way of dividend.
What are the attendant costs?
I don't have the breakdown, Your Honor,
More,
but
ano lang, more or less lang ho, no?
ano po yan, merong pinatawag tayo.
So consummated na ito.
Consummated na po. Ang
Utang na
deli,
ito, utang na.
babayaran na po ito ng mangyayari na po yan pag nagbayad na po yung Pilipinas Shell sa PNOC sa mid of next year po.
I want to understand lang tong, you say attendant cost. So ito yung, nagbenta ka, pero may attendant cost siya. Meron kang kasama
Yung
na cost.
pagsasakho kasi sir ng gas. Meron hong, parang gripo ho yan, parang nawasa ho yan, may expense ho yan.
Yes.
Nagbenta ho tayo,
Yes.
pero may ginastos ho sila.
Yes.
Yun ho yung binabayaran natin sa kanila.
Ano po yung mga nagastos nila?
Yun,
Yun
sa
ang methods of
SIPAP po
Taiwan
yun.
to-
Yung bibigyan po namin kayo ng breakdown noon.
Just ano lang, just to have an idea lang kung ano yung mga...
Sir, yung parang flange na ilalagay sa, yung tie-in delivery po, yun yung parang equipment na ilalagay doon sa
So these are
flange.
technical.
Opo.
Yes, yung pong mga gadgets po yan.
Yung gagamitin
technical.
para dumaan yung gas.
Okay, so tayo bibili ng mga gadgets
Gagamitin.
para ma-transport yung...
Hindi po,
ganun.
mag-share lang po tayo doon sa gadgets.
Yes, I mean, this is the share of the gadgets.
Yes.
Oo.
Kasi pangyayari po niyan, mag-i-increase yung volume ng gas that is currently being delivered to Pilipinas Shell.
Right. So these are technical items.
Correct, Your Honor.
Technical items na binili natin para ma-transport natin yung gas.
Yes.
This is only a portion of our cost.
Yes.
Tama? Okay.
265 ho ito out of the 3.2 billion ho ito.
Right. I understand that, no? Hindi lang siya clear dito kasi sa
Yes, sir.
kung saan gagamit. Kasi in my understanding, nagbenta na tayo, bakit pa tayo may gastos, no? So, I mean, from a layman point of view. But now I understand that it's a technical items, no? Yan. Pakisubmit na lang po yung whoever has the
Yes.
some form of description. No?
We will do that, Your Honor.
Oo. And then the other item, which is the main item, is the LNG project, no? Of which naka-breakdown siya into five main items. Itong sale of mabalik lang ako doon sa 200. Ito yung nabenta na dati, no? So itong 50 million na hinihingi ngayon for feasibility, ito yung hawak natin ngayon, no? And ang kailangan natin ang request nyo is a 50 million amount to determine whether we put up an FSRU or we outright sale or do whatever, no? Just to maximize profit. And then the other 200 million is the phase 2, which is the hub, no? And yung 60 million, which is the grid impact study, kung FSRU yun at i-connect na natin sa main grid.
Kasama na rin ho rito yung evaluation ho ng offer ng proponents.
Okay.
Kasama na rin ho rito yung selection of the proponent.
Okay.
Apo.
Sir, I did some homework, no? I asked around also some experts in LNG. And in ang nakuha ko, no, is it's a different reaction, no? Because definitely our consumption of LNG is not so big, no, compared to our ASEAN neighbors, particularly North Asia. So, yung mga natanungan ko, very skeptical sila pagdating dito sa LNG hub project, no? Hindi naman sinasabing hindi, but skeptical, no? I'm not an expert, so I went around to ask also. And typically, yung ganitong mga project, may mga pre-feasibility project na ito. And I'm sure, no, PNOC, before you undertook this project, nagkaroon na kayo ng pre-feasibility study. Meron ba ho kayong pre-feasibility that you can share with us to further be enlightened whether this LNG project is a viable project for the country? Have we conducted any broad pre-feasibility study?
We have not actually conducted a formal feasibility study, but we have already collated the pre-feed that were submitted to us by prospective proponents, Your Honors. And we also have several studies from other sectors that would be interested in putting up a hub, like EWC and Clean Bay Energy. EWC has a 6-year project being constructed in Pagbilao, which has never been, yes. And there's another proponent, the Clean Bay Energy, that's being proposed in Santa Isabel. But for this particular project, Your Honor, it has its social impact as a government entity, because after 2024, and if and when Malampaya fizzles out, our existing power plant providers, which consists of 3,200 megawatts, will be asking, is asking whether we are going to pursue it or not. Actually, they want to partner with us in this project. We have been talking to them. Secondly, there is another proponent, Blue Energy, below, north of First Gen. They are putting up a 1,000 megawatt, but they are waiting for us to put up a hub. So in effect, Your Honor, a 5 MTPA, to include ours, which will be from 200 to 800, is just enough for the present off-takers to handle, the present and the immediate proponent to handle.
5 MTPA is enough for the Philippines.
No, enough for that area, Your Honor. In other words, enough for that area. And for the, if you notice, Your Honor,
Is mas maliit, maliit lang dito sa atin eh.
ang existing ho ngayon, Your Honor, Madam Chair, is 3.2 existing, plus ours of 800, so you'll have 4 MTPA, and the other proponent of 1,000 megas, that's already 5 MTPA. For the information of Madam Chair and Your Honor, the Philippines is now the de facto area for transshipment of LNG. As we speak, there is an Australian vessel loaded with a big Australian LNG vessel loaded with LNG that has just a locator permit in Subic, and the Chinese smaller LNG Chinese vessels are getting it from the Australian LNG vessel. We have identified it. We have reports on this already, and this is quite a big sum. Your
Australian shipper, is that a regular occurrence here? Is it a one-time?
It is a regular locator, Your Honor.
In Subic.
In Subic. We will provide you a report on this, Your Honor.
Baka pwedeng,
Yes, sir.
What I'm trying to drive at is, of course, this is a mega project. No? This is not an ordinary project. And in 200 million feasibility study is also a big investment to undertake. No? And I'm just wondering, in big projects like this, no, meron talagang pre-feasibility study yan, no, na ginagawa in-house,
Yes,
to make sure that there is merit
yes,
to proceed, no, with a bigger, more in-depth feasibility study.
Yes. As Your Honor, aside from the pre-feed that we have been getting from the proponents, we have been working on this for the past 8 months, and we have studied this thoroughly. That is why we need now to come up with a real formal feasibility study
So
to determine.
meron na ho.
Meron na ho kami. We
And
have-
that is complete with the financial
Not
viability.
yet, not yet. Just approximation based on existing figure from First Gen, Ilihan.
But can you do a financial viability, even though it's a pre-feasibility, para lang makita
We
na?
have that.
Meron na tayong
we have
financial
it, yes,
viability.
yes. Including expected and estimated income, given a 350, a 4
Kasi-
pesos, a 450 pricing, we have that already.
From my own calculation and research, no, the Philippine market is very small. And smallest FSRU, I think it's about 4 million metric tons yata per annum, which is, much bigger than what we require. I think we require is less than 1 million yata, no? From my own analysis, no? And, but then again, these are preliminary research that I did in our office. So that's why from my own calculation, parang hindi siya nagtutugma eh, no, Admiral? That's why, but you guys have made, an in-depth research on this, and I understand that you also have conducted a financial viability analysis. Can that be shared with? We will do that. Before jumping into the bigger investment, no, of studies, I think it's more prudent to understand itong concept na ito eh.
May I go back, Your Honor, and why we really need to do this study? This is important because we might strand a 33 billion bank gas. This is the reason why we are doing the feasibility study. We have to, whether we put up the hub or not, Your Honor, Madam Chair, we still believe that we have to continue with the feasibility study and how to monetize the bank gas. Whether we will pursue with the hub, Your Honor, Madam Chair, that's up to the result of the study. But we have to continue with these two feasibility studies in order that we can take the bank gas out of Malampaya. Because if we cannot get the bank gas out of Malampaya before 2024, my good friend here, who is a part owner of SC38, will be very happy. But because government will not, but government will lose 33 billion.
When we sold the bank gas to Shell, diba nagbenta ho tayo sa Shell?
The bank gas from Shell, Your Honor, Madam Chair, came from my 108 petajoules. Because I bought the 108 petajoules from DOE. From DOE, and I was able to sell to Pisang 937 million. I gave 1 petajoule to the CNG project of DOE and 6.5 petajoules to Philippine Shell, Your Honor.
During that time when we sold to Shell, did we also undertake a feasibility study, or was it just an auction proceedings?
It is, because it is your option, you have to monetize. So it was sold through bidding, public bidding, through
Auction yan, I'm
SC38.
sure it's an auction mechanism, no?
Through SC38.
So it was, what was the experience there? Inopen lang natin yan, and
Can you?
what was the experience that time?
The consortium followed basically the provisions of 9184, Your Honor. Except that there is this committee that is tasked to determine the pricing. This is an open, it's an open bidding. I think what we can say at this point is that of all the bidders that participated in the bidding, Philippine Shell submitted the highest offer. In fact, the offer price of Shell is even more than the current price that is being sold to the 3 power plants.
May ano lang, no? Ang question ko naman, Attorney and Admiral, is it possible to also conduct the same tender for this remaining bank gas?
Actually,
Get the same high price as you have stated?
actually
Saving us a lot of trouble. Just open tender na lang natin, di ba?
That is what I was explaining, Your Honor, a while ago. May GSP ho kasi yung Ilihan at saka yung Ilihan and First Gen.
Yung sa Shell is also sold to Ilihan and First Gen. Yung binili was it
yung pong binili ng Shell is partly from the consortium and partly from PNOC's Bancas.
which is sold to the two consortium, the two vehicles.
Hindi po, yung bank gas po, yung gas po na yan, binebenta dun sa tatlo. The first, dun sa Ilihan, San Lorenzo, Santa Rita, no? Ngayon, nagkaroon po ng additional gas. Sumama po yung PNOC, sinama po nila yung Bancas, pinabid po yan, ang nanalo po ang Philippine Shell.
And,
Yung pong refinery, iba po yung specs po eh. They're two
so
different.
nanalo yung Pilipinas Shell, di ba?
Yes.
Saan ho nila binenta ulit?
Hindi po, ginamit po nila sa refinery. Meron po
Ginamit
sila,
nila sa refinery.
because the refinery has its own generating
Okay,
plant.
okay. So ginamit nila sa sarili nila. Okay, okay. Okay. So in this case, hindi natin magagawa 'yan. No. Sa imported, is that possible to I'm not a technical guy, no? Is that possible to
Ang problema po kasi sa gas, Your Honor, is that for you to export the gas, you have to liquefy it, no? So it has to undergo liquefaction process. Unfortunately, we don't have an LNG liquefaction plant in the country. So mahirap pong export yan, no? The only way for you to be able to sell the gas is to sell this directly to the power generators. That's the only way.
Or burn it, sir. That is why we are coming up with this option.
Right,
Or
right.
burn it.
So ang option natin ho is to burn and sell power,
Yeah.
liquefy it, and
Liquefy
sell it abroad.
Or sell it at a lower price, lower than the price of SC38.
And then as is where is.
Mako-question ho naman kami ng COA.
As is where is yun.
Yes. So that's why we really need Your Honor, Madam Chair, we really need the feasibility study to help us justify whatever course of action we are going to do without going to jail.
Sige po. And then, Admiral, kanina you mentioned that the most critical here is the 310 million in tatlong feasibility studies. And in 109 is contingent to the 300.
The 190...
190 is contingent to the feasibility study.
Yes, yeah, whatever the result.
Whatever the result will be. Okay. I'll just jump a bit. No? Itong energy supply base, how
The energy supply base, Madam Chair, Your Honor, is for what is being operated by PNOCEC, but through a board resolution of both boards, the PNOCEC and the Philippine National Oil Company mother, it has been transferred from PNOC to us, so that the thinking of this is that PNOCEC should concentrate on exploration, and the mother will do the other activities, other efforts, other projects that are not with exploration or with renewables. Also with the renewables, Your Honor, Madam Chair, they will concentrate on the renewables. That's why we have an MOU that they are to be managed by the PNOC mother, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Well, sir, saan gagamitin to? Is this for...
Operations, they are making, how many, 300 million.
Your Honor, the energy supply base was established in order to provide some sort of a staging yard for the supplies of all the drilling companies that were drilling oil in the 80s. That was precisely why the energy supply base was established.
And then the 28 million will be used to revive it, or ano bang...
I am not particular on the 28 million that PNOC is requesting, Your Honor.
Kasi there's a that's part of the 800 million increase in budget. So I'm just curious kung saan po gagamitin in 28.
This is another just in case, Your Honor. The 279, there is a lot inside. Can you show the... Pakita mo doon sa tabi. Doon ka sa tabi. There is a lot inside the ESB base, Your Honor, that is not ours. And and it is in the middle of both. The the property being leased by Petron and the general area that we are operating, Your Honor,
And then the requested funds will be used for...
to buy that, Your Honor.
To buy that?
To buy that.
Okay.
So that it will be contiguous operations, Your Honor.
Okay.
I hope may I request that this be held confidential, Your Honor, because if they know that there is money, they will make the price more expensive.
And then pag pinili ho, ano
Then we
purpose
can
po?
use the whole thing, Your Honor.
For...
For port operations and other things.
Okay.
We
Dito ilalagay yung hub. Proposal.
one of those proposals, but that is the ASB, Your Honor, Madam Chair, by itself is already making 30 million a year.
Okay.
And
Which
it
is
will make
19 hectares.
19.5 hectares.
So
Your Honor.
19.5 hectares in Mabini.
Mabini.
And then you will just buy based on the picture.
Yes,
yung
buy
building.
that and it will make more money.
Ano yan no? Nasa may coastal portion?
Opo.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
So,
Public already, we're live We're Facebook live.
May I discuss this with you executive level
session.
later on, Your Honor.
Okay.
Saan po, nasabi, naka-live.
okay.
Magkano ngayon per square meter?
5,800?
Bukas,
Five.
ano na yan? Double.
5,800 po.
But going back ho, just to complete yung, I guess ito yung pinaka right of way para papunta dun sa coastal area. Tama po ba?
In the middle ho yun.
Ay, in the middle siya.
Napakaganda hong lugar ho yun. Actually, we are utilizing it already. But,
Okay. And just to complete itong 19 hectares.
19.5. Opo.
19.5
And,
hectares.
that includes the 4-hectare hilly part.
Okay.
Now, we have a plan for that also, Your Honor.
Ito 19 hectares owned by the government.
PNOC. Being leased to PNOC EC. That's why we got it back.
Okay.
Your Honor.
And ngayon ho, industrial park siya.
Port ho yun.
Port siya.
Port ho
siya
yun.
sa Mabini. Operating port ho to.
Operating port po yan.
Ang laki 19
Laki po yan.
hectares.
Opo.
And ano ang mga cargo ships ang pumupunta ho doon? Or?
Energy related ho and
Energy
some
related.
are ano yung sabon? Ano yung sabon? Bulk? Bulk cargos.
Alright. Right. And then another item dito po sa increase in budget is the 19 million evaluation and approval of subsidiaries budget. 19.6 million. Kasama ito dun sa 19.6 million evaluation and approval of subsidiaries budget. Is this secret rin ba ho to? Secret rin? Parang secret rin.
Wala yan.
Wala ba ho yan?
Wala.
It's in the ano? Kung wala naman po, I think kung wala naman po, we can just clarify with the Senate Research Office. Andito kasi sa briefer nila, no? So, we were wondering kung ano itong 19 million na,
Yes.
ano.
We will clarify this
Yes,
with the
yes,
staff,
sir.
Your Honor.
And just to go back to PNOCRC, I saw some projects na identify doon. Ano?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And I'm assuming all of those projects before they were implemented, they had also underwent a feasibility study.
Yes, Mr.
Are they
Chair.
making money? All of
Yes,
those
Mr.
projects?
Chair, and we do our feasibility study, and all of these are all viable and making money.
Nakita ko karamihan doon ay government to government.
Opo,
right?
opo.
So hindi na sila nagbidding.
Wala na hong bidding.
Kasi
That's why we only do government, we don't do private sector po.
And then how through the savings?
Kung
anong
hindi
natipid
po, there is a contract po. There's a lease contract.
There's a
for-
straight lease siya.
Yes,
Straight
yes.
lease. So it's not paid on
Hindi po.
on the savings
Wala po,
arrangement.
wala
Okay.
po sa
Alright.
savings nila.
Even if it's government-to-government contracts, it should not be disadvantageous to government. It should still be the subject of if other services that could be cheaper. In short, because we still provide the funds for that, let's say the OST, they will come to us for their budget, galing yan sa rental, MOE, ganun din. So if the cost is high, and they could have gotten it for, instead of 9 pesos, 5 pesos, why would they enter into a contract just because it comes from a government agency? It was before the time of Misa Arenas. These were the same questions propounded by former Senator Serge Osmeña, who has been batting for the abolition of PNORC. Nothing personal, John, because I remember I was sitting here, he was there, and at the time, years ago, I was wondering, galit na galit si Serge because he really knows the energy sector. And there was a man there, Mr. Gatmaitan, I found out later, nanggigigil si Senator Serge dahil sabi niya, what is the reason for your existence? Not him personally, but the institution. And at the time, I did not quite understand until the Senate Committee on Finance on Energy in October 2016. I think you made a statement. You questioned the necessity of having the PNOC-RC, and I quote you, it adds another layer of inefficiency in government. Yeah, you were quoted as saying that as well. So I just wanted to put that on record. With no personalities, I'm not trying to put down anyone, just trying to reiterate and following through where previous energy chairs have questioned. And in fact, just like being consistent with NEA and NAPUCOR, it should be least cost. And even if it's COA or what building UP, they still get it from their MOE. And I see the cost here, 950, and even 2017, when the cost should be lower, BSP, that's Bangko Sentral, 845. When the cost can actually be 6 pesos, 5 pesos. So I think we are putting government agencies at a disadvantage by having an offered rate of a couple of pesos higher than the offered rate. So may I know why are our costs very high? Yes.
Madam Chair, with your permission, can we ask my technical vice president to explain po the rates? Thank you.
Because I can actually answer my own question. Because we know that RC is not an EPC. RC, according to Senator Serge, is a middleman. So my question is, why does government have to be a middleman where the private sector will perform? Diba? Bakit nangungumisyon ang gobyerno sa ipa-perform or i-implement ng pribadong sektor? In short, if there was a CSP, believe talaga ako dun sa bill mo, for UP, na hindi negotiated contract na J2G, yung UP na 950, maaring nakatipid ang UP, sabi mo na 7, 6, 5 pesos. Kaya lang gobyerno sa gobyerno, mataas ang presyo, makukuha yung mga yan eh. Makukuha yan. Diba, hindi kayo EPC eh, tapos binibid nyo sa pribadong sektor na EPC. Eh bakit pwede na pribadong sektor CSP ito? Bakit tagaan sa middleman na gobyerno? Create natin. We created this.
Madam Chair, Hindi naman po sa ganun. Before we offer or before they ask us to do it, we always ask them, has private sector already offered? Now, if they tell us na wala, that's the only time that we come in.
Yes, sir.
Pag meron po, we give in to the private sector.
You know, I talked to the government. They don't know any better because to them, this is something new. This is a 2008 law, and you were created, well, a few months prior on that. Yes. It's really not your fault. And kakaupo mo lang dyan eh. Even the technical people, they're just doing their job. It's a bit, it's just a bit, it's difficult to understand why
Yes, Madam
there
Chair.
could be cheaper sources of renewable without having to go through a government agency that is more expensive than the private sector. Yun lang.
Good afternoon po, ma'am.
May dahilan kayong iba sa technical kung bakit kayo mahal, paliwanag po niyo sa amin.
Una po, yung aming pong hurdle rate na nire-require sa amin ng aming PNOC mother is 12%. So, lumalabas po na yung aming selling price ng electricity ay 950. Yan po yung offer namin nung simula pa. Pero as the prices of solar panels becomes cheaper, bumababa naman po yung offer rate namin. Ganito naman po hindi naman po disadvantage yung mga government sector dahil government agencies dahil yung aming rate po ay merong fixed rate po siya for 15 years pero pag bumaba po doon sa fixed rate na yan, Meralco rate following po siya, ma'am. So pag bumaba po sa doon sa agreed fixed rate, yung rate ng Meralco, yun po yung sinusunod namin. Kasi po, ma-raise na po yan doon sa aming mga MOA negotiations with government agencies na kapag pagbabayad kami ng mas mahal kaysa sa Meralco, makukuha kami. So, Meralco rate following po yung aming ino-offer po sa kanila. Tapos po yung nabanggit po ni Sir Jan,
Meralco rate. Pero sa pribadong sektor po, may mga rate na 30% mas mura sa Meralco. So bakit po ang UP, ang BSP, ang COA, lahat po ay pupunta sa rate na pareho ng Meralco kung merong mas mura na 30% mas mura sa Meralco? Ba't pupunta sa inyo? Tapos hindi naman kayo ang EPC, sinasubcon nyo sa pribadong sektor. I don't see the point.
ma'am, nabanggit po ni Sir Jan kanina,
Government to government, dahil lang G2G, pwedeng mas mahal or katumbas ng Meralco kung merong private sector, mas mura sa Meralco.
ma'am, nabanggit po ni Sir Jan kanina na yung pong mga pinupuntahan namin ay tinatanong po namin kung meron ng private sector na pumunta sa inyo. Sabi po yung iba po, ma'am, ay nagsasabi na meron na mga 2 years ago pero hindi naman na sila bumalik. Ang nakita po nilang problema ay yung proseso sa government agency. Dahil po yung COA, at the same time yung memorandum of yung pag-negotiate sa MOA, medyo matagal po. Actually sa UP po, inabot kami ng halos 2 taon sa MOA negotiations.
So gobyerno na kayo, 2 taon pa.
Yes, ma'am. Apo.
Sinasabi po nyo, pag pribadong sektor, yung 2 taon, 5 taon.
Baka mas matagal po, ma'am. Yun po ang apo. Nakita hindrance ng private sector para pumasok po sa government buildings na
Engineer, how do you charge them? For example, ako, magpapakabit ako.
Opo, sir.
Straight lease lang to? I
Yes,
pay you
sir.
a straight lease?
Opo, sir. Opo.
Ganun kasimple lang?
Ganun lang po, sir.
How do you pay per square meter? Or
Based po doon sa generation. May fixed rate po tayo base po doon sa generation ng solar installation po natin.
okay.
Opo. So nagbabari po yan every day kung ilan po yung depende po doon sa solar irradiation.
Okay. Kung ano yung napoproduce ng solar,
Yun po.
yun lang ang babayaran.
Yes, sir.
nila.
Opo.
Oo.
Opo.
Okay. And your advantage really is to do away with the bidding.
Yun lang po ang nakita namin. At the same time,
Di kayo, meron na ba kayong gumawa? Wala.
ah
Wala. Sinasubcon nila eh.
Kayo,
You now choose the supplier na magsusupply.
pinapabid.
Nagpapabid kayo.
Yes, sir. Apo.
kayo
Meron po kami, yes, sir. Kami po nagpapabid. Pero meron po kami
Middleman nga.
terms of reference. Pero, meron naman po kami po ang gumagawa ng design. Yung design, yun lang pong construction part ang pinapakontrata namin. Pero yung design, yung technical assessment, saka yung paggawa ng pre-feasibility study, kami po ang gumagawa nun, sir.
Yung ESCO.
Yes, sir. Apo.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Actually, sir, ito po ay dinudugtong namin doon sa aming, kasi ESCO rin po kami. Ang aming konsepto na, ang aming ginagawa ay basically ESCO po siya. Apo.
Kayo na muna.
Yes, sir. Apo. Ang pagpahit po ng government agency sa amin ay more than the installation na may provide namin sa kanila. May mga value-adding services po kami. Like yung semi-annual na pag-conduct ng electrical safety assessment sa building. Yan. Tapos may mga pre-energy audits po kaming ginagawa sa mga government agencies.
Si engineer, nag-meet na kami before.
Opo,
And alam niyo yung sentimento ko dito.
Opo, sir.
That's my first instinct. We met about 10 months ago yata.
Opo, sir.
Pahingi ako ng briefing.
Opo.
My first instinct rin is the same with Ma'am Lauren, na
Echo ko lang yung kay Serge, dahil noon, tuwan-tuwa ako na may nag-renewable Pero napag-isip-isip ko.
I think dahil may new direction naman ng PNOC, I really urge you to come up with a much more kumbaga relevant na direction, no? Meaning, value added or
Yes, sir.
maybe serving, I don't know, no?
Yeah, I'm sure meron ka. They recommended divestment, and GCG has a proposal for abolition. There's a memo to me here.
Unless nga they come up with
Because they've been losing for 3 consecutive years.
I'm sorry, I mean,
Yes, ma'am. Apo.
Yes, Madam Chair. That's okay.
Eating,
Yes, Madam Chair, we understand. And
maybe it's about time to think of a new corporate direction.
Yun nga, sir. Ang amin pong pinatutunguhan ngayon ay itong energy efficiency. That's why nasimulan na po namin sa yung retrofitting ng lighting sa UP rin. UP Diliman at saka sa Philippine Public Safety College.
In any case, siguro, should go along na lang, no? Because
Apo, sir.
really want to get deeper into the budget of these entities. But
Apo, sir.
my own observation rin, it's same with the observation of the good chair. Really, it's about time to think of a much more robust or much more definitive direction. No? Other than being a middleman or maximizing the G2G, I think meron pang ibang opportunities for you guys to
yes, sir.
get.
hindi bale kung walang private sector, napakarami. Pangalawa, hindi bale kung talagang napakamura nyo at no expense to the taxpayers' money. Ang marami pong available sa private sector, mas mahal pa ang gobyerno. So, hindi ko po nakikita yung advantage. Maybe in 2008, it was created because the law was new. But because there were many foreign investors and domestic investors and small and medium-sized players, marami na, it has become competitive and the rates have declined. And so the rates of PNOC-RC has remained 8-9 pesos, which was the rate in 2015 when the FIT started. 968, 869. Sana, binagsak nyo ng 3. Kung binagsak nyo ng 3, maaring okay pa. Pero 8 pa rin kayo, disadvantages sa lahat ng yan, makukuha yung mga yan. Mataas ang presyo nila.
Sunod na lang po, sumusunod naman po doon sa presyo ng Meralco po. Apo, ma'am.
Yeah, tama naman kayo. Pero kasi sa merkado, if you know the industry, I'm sure you know it better than me, marami ng mas mura sa Meralco na bilateral contracts hanggang 5 piso. So, ba type ang gobyerno papasok ng 9 kung meron 5 piso? Yun. Yun lang. But we will not argue because nandyan pa kayo. It's really for the GCG to decide.
Thank you, Madam
We're
Chair.
just putting on record our observations. And
Thank you.
the two chair of energy have said this time and again all the time. Yes. But it's not your fault. I mean, you're doing your job. You're an engineer, no?
It's our mandate, Madam Chair,
They're
to
maximizing.
promote renewable energy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I think maybe it's time to re-strategize. Now, these are the observations of,
Yes, sir.
and our suggestion. No? It's up to you guys to decide whether to tilt the direction somewhere else.
I think similar to Napocor, in areas they are serving which they should not serve if they were to comply with EPIRA and they are already moving out. If there is a private sector that's cheaper, move out. Di ba? Kasi importante palagi public good.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Least cost. Oo. Para din hindi rin ma-strain ang, maski hindi diretsyong subsidiya sa GAA, internally generated income, pero at a loss kayo, nakikita ko dito, hindi ko na sinasabi sa record, no? Lahat ng losses every year, and then pinapasweldo ang mga executives. Again, not your fault. So, dapat pag may cheaper sa mga ahensyang yon at marami pang ibang government agencies na gusto mag-renewables regardless of kind of RE, kailangan pinakamura. Huwag niyong mamahalan at hayaan niyo ang libreng free market, ang merkado, ang mag-dictate.
Yes, Madam Chair. Noted.
Yun lang. Thank you.
Just to go back dun sa 19 million, may submission kayo, ma'am? There's a submission, and can this be clarified, itong 19.6 million? Evaluation and approval of subsidiaries budget in your MFO 1.
While you were waiting for the answer, tanong ko lang sa PNO CRC, kayo ba ay, do you undergo land reclassification and conversion also? No. Because you only do rooftops.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So you don't do plants or farms
Hindi
on the
pa.
ground. So you don't
Hindi pa.
deal with DA and DAR and LGUs for conversions.
Wala pa, Madam Chair.
This list of your projects are negotiated contracts, G2G. No bidding.
Yes, Madam Chair.
And the agencies always told you they don't know of any other.
Yes, but we usually ask them, ma'am,
Yeah.
if the private sector
Okay,
has already
that's
offered.
laziness on their part. That means
If they were
hindi sila
offered.
nag-due diligence, hindi sila nag-CSP. Makukuha sila.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Kasi kung meron mas mura, alam, dali-daling Google ka lang dyan eh. Kayo naman, tinumbas lang nyo sa Meralco. Di ba?
Yes, Madam Chair.
At least green sila, Meralco rate kayo. Dapat naman alam nila na may mas mura sa Meralco.
Ma'am, I'm na explain naman po mabuti. I'll just put it on record that I think there were just confusion in the titling. No? Can we just adjust the titles, no? Kasi medyo confusing eh. And in our own analysis, parang doesn't sound correct. No? We just adjust it na lang. No? Ma'am, I don't have any more questions. Thank you very much, Admiral. Thank you, sir.
Thank you to the PNOC family.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Attorney.
Mr. Chair, maraming salamat po.
Si John tumatawag, nag-text ang nanay. Si Attorney Aquino, nandyan yung anak sa likod. Diba? Ayan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Your Honor.